while I feel sad.
To say, I'll think about it. Why would you be doubting? Sitting down in my head. Just say what should be said. We can sit and talk about something happening now, not just hollow vowels. But I just worry about it, about giving up. How can I go without it? The doubt will push you through.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are here tonight for some high school Overwatch, kicking things off with Yorba Linda taking on Bayside High in a best-of-5, kicking things off with Control and Oasis. I'm your host, Brenner Barrelad. Joined with me to call all of the action is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So, Cole, going into Oasis on Control for this best-of-5, what's kind of the meta that we see more consistently with a Boise State level of play? And going into the high school, what are some maybe curveballs we might be looking forward to?
So most of the time on Oasis, this is where you see the Orisa or the Sigma swaps, if there are going to be those swaps. Those are the two main tanks that you usually run, especially Orisa. There are a lot of benefits that Orisa can bring to you on Oasis. But with high school, they're not beholden to these metas. They don't have to do that. They don't necessarily have a coach telling them that that's their meta, that that's what they need to do. All their understanding comes from watching other players play that meta. So I expect to see probably some Reinhardt, because that's pretty consistently what we've been seeing across all high school teams. Is Reinhardt is the typical main tank. And so as a result, some off tanks would include Zarya. We've seen Sigma pulled out on occasion, but most of the time it's Reinhardt, Zarya, and people don't really stray from that. Where we do see a little bit of kind of some straying in these high school matches is we have seen almost every DPS in the game in these high school matchups. So usually in collegiate matchups, you see like the Cole Cassidy for a variety of reasons. You see like May pulled out on King's Row, but what you don't see a lot of is Pharah, unless a situation specifically calls for it. You don't see a lot of Bastion. In these high school matchup, that's completely different. We see Pharah all the time. We see Bastion strats all the time, which is not something that you see in the collegiate level. We've even seen people try to like snipe around as Reaper. So there really is any comp that you can run. You're not beholden to anything, and I expect to see a lot of mixing up, especially in the DPS tonight.
Yeah, well, a lot of good tips coming out for these players, but one thing that can definitely help them across the board will be Docs Keys, the game that we have in every game that we play. And in Overwatch, what does that mean? That means to never take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. And of course, that is brought to us by Drop In Gaming. Drop In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at Drop In Gaming. Well, we're getting ready to head into Oasis for this first matchup of the night between Yorba Linda and Bayside High. We have seen Yorba Linda before. Bayside High is also returning to us with these high school matches. So with what we've seen from them in the past, we kind of talked about what the meta is for these maps as we wait to jump into these matches. You talked a lot about, we can see a lot of these DPS. It was kind of a joke in prior matches of, you know, here's their main DPS player. Let's check off every single DPS that they're going to play tonight. So you mentioned we probably won't see something like, you know, the verticality of the Pharmacy or the Echo as well as the Bastion. So what are some DPS you're hoping to see right out the gate?
I think Echo is always a DPS that has a lot of impact, especially on Oasis. In our collegiate teams, we typically tend to run some sort of Tracer as well with a Zenyatta support, so I expect to see maybe some of that as well. This map in particular on Oasis would benefit a Pharah or an Echo. If you're going to run a Pharah or an Echo, this is definitely the map to do it on. And so as a result, because of the because those vertical DPS are so good on this map, we would also see a Soldier 76 or a Cole Cassidy get a lot of value. And it looks like Yorba Linda in the blue has taken over the high ground with the Reinhardt Diva tank.
Yeah, that Cole Cassidy, as well as you mentioned, coming out here. But also on the side of Bayside High, we're going to see that Tracer Sombra duo. So definitely sticking with the higher speed along with the Wrecking Ball. So they're going to have to give up that high ground, start contesting the point now that it is unlocked. Trying to get that first Tickens or building percentage the best they can, with Sombra being very low, finally getting healed up. It seems that Yorba Linda has a much higher sustain than Bayside High, and they are going to get first blood with Sellout taking out that Wrecking Ball, quickly followed by Tracer taking out. So both main tanks gone for each side. So the push might be a little slower because now it is the duel of the Divas, but it seems Bayside High is going to lose their mech first as Sellout is able to take that down. Damage is being exchanged, but finally another elimination for M1 coming out on the Soldier 76 with that Rockets taking out the Tracer, quickly followed by the 1v1 between him and the Sombra goes his direction. Sellout also being able to take out the Zenyatta. Seems Yorba Linda's being very comfortable in this first team fight.
you're not in a bad spot if you're Yorba Linda, because you just got 37% off of a single one fight, because Bayside High, after losing their main tank, they continued to just trickle, tried to keep the fight in, which is understandable if the enemy team hasn't already capped the point. If you go even, both down to main tank, and enemy team already has the point, and you don't win within the next couple seconds, you need to back out, as they set up for their second engage here.
Yeah, we also saw the swap over from the Reinhardt to the Winston to maintain that high-speed mobility. The EMP did come out onto both tanks of Yorba Linda. Now the mines are going to come out for Bayside High, as well as the sights from Yorba Linda, quickly followed by the rally coming out for Bayside High. All the ultimates are getting pressed here. Even the Diva Bomb coming out for Yorba Linda, not going to be able to secure any buttons, but the first elimination of his team fight is going to be onto the Brig of Bayside High, quickly followed by losing their Tracer. So Yorba Linda playing very tightly together, but even then their DPS are constantly able to win these 1v1s, and already Bayside High is going to have to go on the retreat for the regroup.
M1 is having no difficulty whatsoever dealing with Bayside High's two flankers. They've won the 1v1 against both the Sombra and the Tracer as Soldier 76, and without a stun, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, he does have the Salad to back him up with that stun, as you mentioned, and also has the Deadeye on bar, but the 6-man EMP is going to come out, able to eliminate 2 of Sellout and the Winston. So they do lose their main tank, and one of the DPSs quickly followed by their second tank as Economic Bale gets taken out by the Wrecking Ball, quickly followed by Chicken taking out Flexible, and there goes the Moira. So it looks like Yorba Linda's going to lose this last team fight that they needed. So Bayside High finally gets on the point.
Bayside High showing a little bit of life here with that EMP coming out from bot. An amazing job, an amazing EMP that landed on the 5 members of the team, and they were able to consistently follow up on the EMP, because an EMP, no matter how many people it hits, is only as good as its follow-up, and the follow-up there was phenomenal. We see M1 trying to get a little bit of a flank elimination, which they do successfully, setting up Yorba Linda to possibly win this fight.
Yeah, opening up with that Coalescence as well as M1 trading out with the Zenyatta, although he quickly loses life to Flexible. Oh, the Moira will be able to get an elimination onto that Baby Diva with the Coalescence, as well as once the Diva remix, will be able to get elimination with those missiles, so they get the point back. Now Bayside High is going to have to go all out stall here if they want to stay alive in this first round of Control. Oh, but with Flexible taking up that Tracer so early on, quickly followed by that Lucio, they're not going to have a lot of those high-speed heroes that they need to maintain here, whereas Winston also is able to take out that last support with the help of Economic Bear. Sellout is also able to take out Wrecking Ball. Chicken's able to take out Flexible, so they lose their own Lucio, but Yorba Linda looking very good right now, able to eliminate the Sombra as well. Just a whole cacophony coming out here. The post-mortem pulse bomb from the Tracer takes out Sellout, but it is simply too late. Yorba Linda takes round 1 of Control.
And that's what usually happens if you're able to get a point to 99 and then you have the ultimate advantage with the enemy team. Bayside High was able to take this fight off. Bayside High lost this point, first engage, and then gave them 37% of the point. That was already off to a little bit of a rough start because they didn't cleanly reset. And then because they didn't cleanly reset, Yorba Linda just had to defend for 70% of the point instead of the 100% of the point. Bayside High could definitely still turn this around if you're a Bayside High fan, because they definitely showed signs of life. They definitely have the capability to win these team fights. They're just not doing so on a time frame that is beneficial to Control.
Yeah, so it looks like swapping over to the map, we're going to see a little bit of change up on the side of Yorba Linda, going with your own Tracer this time around, as well as that Baptiste. Looks like Jacob might stick to the Reinhardt this time around, or he might switch over to the Winston if they win this first team fight, but Bayside High has that high ground, and sticking with the same team comp we saw them on the last map. So seeing if they can make this team comp work, or if they're going to have to swap off of it. Yorba Linda definitely can out-sustain them with M1 falling very low, is going to be able to recall back. The charge is going to miss onto that Wrecking Ball, but the first elimination is going to be that Wrecking Ball, as he did engage without the help of his team. Quickly followed by Tracer, who had the exact same issue. She goes in and no one else is there to follow her up, because they were just maintaining the high ground the whole time around. So already Bayside High is just going to have to go for the regroup, losing those 2 members so early on.
Bayside High is definitely going for a dive comp sort of thing. They don't have the sustain that Yorba Linda does, but they do have more elimination power, which has not actually been used to Bayside High's advantage so far, because they've been setting up for their dives, but losing the 1v1s.
Yeah, and in this fight, we saw their Tracer absolutely pop off and get 3 eliminations, but will get eliminated by the Pulse Bomb coming out from N1. So things do look upside for them as they're able to win the second team fight and get the Pulse Bomb online. So the ults looking even across the board so far, but Bayside High has that percentage advantage with EMP being right on as we get ready to kick off this third team fight. Bayside High, being a dive comp, is very much holding this high ground, whereas where DPS and tanks go in, the great EMP is going to come out onto the entire team of Your Belinda, and that's going to be a practical team wipe with Lucio barely able to escape with his life.
That's the second of 3 team fights that Bayside High has had that Bot is the EMP carry over there. Bayside High does a phenomenal job at working around the EMP. Bot does an amazing job landing on them, but as I said before, an EMP is only as good as the follow-up, and Bayside High 100% has the follow-up.
Yeah, so once again, Your Belinda is going right on the ground, going to open things up with the Amplification Matrix as well as the Mines, but it looks like the Mines will not be enough to save him as the rally on the high ground is going to be used to maintain their life. M1 also swapping over to the Torb, going to be able to survive it with the help of the Immortality Field, but Sellout's finally going to win that 1v1 against Zinna and take out that Tracer who's been causing them so many issues, as the Tracer of their own was not working for Your Belinda, trying to take out the Sombra, but barely misses the Flame Strike. They are able to cap the point and start building that percentage, but losing Sellout to the Zenyatta, things are not looking good. Also going to lose M1's turret. Here comes another Diva Bump, a great shatter onto the Wrecking Ball, but Bayside High is not looking to lose any members as they take out the Torbjorn and the Reinhardt once again. Quickly followed by Bot taking out Flexible and getting his own 2-piece onto Economic Berry. He's looking to make it 3, but is not able to find it as Wrecking Ball will get that elimination. So once again, Your Belinda is going to have to be reset.
Chicken with that clean little Diva fly there. I see you over there. I see your Diva mechanics. Fantastic job. Bayside High's ball has a couple of options. 1, play more conservatively, or 2, swap off of ball and onto Monkey.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait to see if they're going to even need to do so as we're nearing that 80%. The Molten Core is going to come up, but the EMP is there to cancel it as quickly as possible, landing on all 5 members, but Flexible is there with the Sound Barrier to keep his team alive, as the Baptiste is there to take out the Wrecking Ball, as well as the Tracer and Sombra and Brig continue to fall for the team, as Your Belinda's having excellent team play right now. Chicken is able to take out Sellout, but it will simply not be enough as the rest of his team is quickly eliminated. Your Belinda having a very solid push and not getting that EMP onto Lucio cost him dearly.
On paper, that fight looked like it would belong to Bayside High. They hit them with the EMP in the same place they did before, and you would expect it to go that way, but not. In fact, now Sellout is over here dueling with Gion, trying to get a Deadeye. Looks like they'll just go ahead and take it mid.
Yeah, and right now mid, it is a solid team fight going on with all the support ults being used by Bayside High, trying to keep them alive as long as they can. M1 will end up losing his turret to Chicken, but will quickly be able to get the refrag for his turret onto Zenna. That Tracer getting eliminated first so consistently is not what you want to see if you're the DPS. Quickly followed by the Zenyatta getting taken out, as well as Chicken on the Diva. Then the Break falls after taking out Sellout. There goes Sombra and the Wrecking Ball once again, even after coming back. And at 93%, this is a very close game. The shatter comes out, doesn't land onto anyone. They try to push up the best they can and buy as much time. 99%, they're so close to getting it. However, Zenna on this Tracer will be able to barely touch it in time. So now it is just trying to clean them up the best they can. Cell is able to win that 1v1 and take out the Tracer. There goes M1's turret once again, but he is able to eliminate that Zenyatta for his turret. Able to knock down the Reinhardt, though, does buy them a little bit of power there as they're able to take out both the Baptiste and the Torbjorn. Economic Bear able to win the Diva 1v1 though, and Jacob, once he gets back onto point, will be able to charge pin down that Sombra. Quickly followed by Economic Bear taking out the Wrecking Ball. These two tank players for Your Belinda are carrying their weight right now as Zenna is able to win the 1v1 between Cell. The Pulse Bomb comes out onto the Diva, but she's going to quickly just use the self-destruct and takes out Flexible beforehand. Jacob once again getting another pin onto the Moira, swapping over from that Zenyatta. The attack does come out onto Jacob, but it is not enough. The turret will end up falling, but Your Belinda's playing the best of their life, trying to recap this point. Another great EMP coming out from bot, landing onto 4 members of Your Belinda, but not able to get any eliminations. Instead, they're going to get eliminated, and Your Belinda takes control. Map 1 goes over to them. A hard-fought victory. Bayside tries to come back in the last seconds. definitely an interesting payout of how that worked out. So, one of our great supporters of the Boise State esports production is the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills over to them with more than 10 job offerings and a $20,000 sign-on bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho National Guard is the best team out there. Make sure to reach out to them at iGuard Gaming. So a great first map for your Belinda, but Bayside High showed many signs of life.
The biggest thing that I want to highlight right now as a difference between these two teams is the difference in successful main tank aggression. Because what we're seeing for Bayside High Reinhardt, we're seeing Reinhardt be just the right amount of aggressive, being right in the enemy's face when he needs to be and holding shield when he doesn't need to be there. But what we're seeing for Bayside High's ball, that is not what we're looking for. We're seeing Bayside High's ball go in, try to make a lot of plays, and sometimes they successfully do so, but most of the time they do not. They just end up getting ult charge, kind of getting out, or even worse, getting eliminated. And that puts Bayside High at a huge disadvantage, because when you're a dive here, when your whole team revolves around dive, and you are relying on that ball's disruption, and your ball goes and tries to disrupt, is unable to do so successfully, and then on top of that unable to get out, and you're just down one with your dive, you can't very well dive into Reinhardt, Cole Cassidy, already down one. So that main tank aggression difference, that Bayside High ball being a little bit too aggressive and not waiting for the team follow-up, I think is the biggest thing that's hurting Bayside right now. On the positives for Bayside, they have amazing EMPs. Every single EMP that has landed onto 5 or more people. And most of the time, Bayside is able to follow up on that, which is honestly exceptional. We see some EMPs in our collegiate games that first of all hit less than 5, and second of all have less follow-up than Bayside High is doing right now. So overall, definitely not a bad performance, but that aggression is something they need to fix if they would like to win.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and give them a quick little break to try to regroup and going into map number 2, which is going to be hybrid as well. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing the matchup between Your Belinda and Bayside High. We are heading over to map number 2 after Your Belinda having a very strong win on Control Oasis. We're heading over to Blizzard World for Hybrid, a map that we don't see all too often. I'm still your host, Brendan Bear. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alway to call all of the action. So Blizzard World, not a map we see all too often.
No, it is not, and it is definitely a map, especially First Point. First Point Blizzard World is going to be incredibly hard to try to run a dive comp on if you are Bayside. Not completely impossible, but especially on attack, you really need some form of a shield tank. Defense First Point lends itself much better to that dive defense. Even Boise State has been known on occasion to run a sort of dive defense across the numerous high grounds, wait for them to come to you, and then you dive on top of them as a group. We've been known to do that. We've had success doing that. Other collegiate teams have had success doing that. But if you're trying to attack, dive is definitely not the answer for you. Monkey, Ball, and Diva are not going to be what you need trying to get through that first choke point. You're going to need a shield tank. And so I expect to see a Ryan, a Sigma, or possibly even an Orisa for this first point. As on the attacking side, on defending side, you could go with those same tanks, or you could also go with the dive tanks. Overall, there are a lot of options.
Yeah, some exciting options that we're going to have to just wait and see as we're getting ready to jump into this matchup of Your Belinda up against Bayside High. Your Belinda having a very strong start in Control, able to get that 2-0 sweep, but Bayside High showing a lot of signs of life, is going to have to do a little bit of a comp swap if they want to be able to match the aggressiveness coming up from the tanks of Your Belinda, as you mentioned before the break. So Blizzard World, map we don't all see too often, and already we're going to see the defensive Torbjorn coming out for Your Belinda if they are still in the blue.
Which is not bad. That is another amazing hero pick for DPS. Some other great defensive picks include, Cole Cassidy is always a solid pick, as we see there, but you could also run a Widowmaker or a Hanzo with these long sight lines and these high grounds that you can abuse on defense. On attack, typically you don't necessarily want to run the hit scan Widowmaker unless they have a hit scan that you need to counter. Ashe, we could also see some use on Ashe on either side, attack or defending, because she would be able to get huge value. It looks like they're popping out with that Ashe that we just talked about, as well as a Tracer who is going to try to get these flank routes here. And we have the ball going straight down mid, and I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work for them. Bayside High, neither one of their tanks is a shield tank. They have Ball Diva, so they will have to play the sneaky game to try to even engage Your Belinda here with the Orisa Sigma on point.
Yeah, Your Belinda has a very solid defensible position with that double barrier. And as you mentioned, Bayside High not having a single barrier can cost them dearly, but now we're going to see the Tracer swap over to the Echo. We'll have a Pocket Mercy at their side, so hopefully we'll see that be able to pop off ever so slightly, but having that Sigma able to throw that barrier up top will probably not end well, already getting below half health, but that Pocket Mercy paying off a dividends. Ball will end up going in by himself.
Huge.
And a great beam coming out able to take out Economic Bear, but they're going to lose the 2 in the process with M1's turret taking out Xena, also losing that main tank. So things are not looking good. They had a great initial push, but with only 2 members pushing in, they are going to lose their lives very quickly. And the res not even coming out from the Mercy to bring back the Echo.
That was definitely not in a resable location. Hashtag Grim definitely practiced some restraint. They're not going for either the res on Xenia or Gian. Good job practicing restraint. It looks like that Echo's back in the fight, but however, they are down their Zenyatta. And Flexible is going to go ahead and take out the Ashe, so that push is just completely subverted. Nice job with Flexible on the headshots onto the Bayside High DPS. If you're Bayside High, what you really want to do, your Echo's your playmaker right now. You kind of have to like sneaky sneak, take the long way around to the point because you don't have any barriers to hide behind, and Your Belinda is running, for all intents and purposes, spam. So if you're Bayside High, you want to sneak to the point, and then you want your Echo to hard engage like they did, but you want to be able to support them. If your Echo gets eliminated, the fight is effectively over for you. We've seen that for them twice.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll not see a repeat of that heading into this next fight. They do have the 3 ults on the bar ready to go. However, Your Belinda does have the 4, and kicking things off with another such early elimination onto Bull, who is finally going to be res, so there comes it out. But now with that not being on cooldown, Xena is going to be at risk here with the Mercy combo with that Echo, but so far are waiting for the engagement. They're constantly going for this high ground, and it hasn't been able to pay off for them, so it looks like they might try to drop down and just hug this wall, but this Torb's getting a ton of poke value right now. Oh, even activating his armor to keep himself alive. Bob will finally come out for Ash, but Sellout is able there to take out Bot, and there goes the Bob quickly after her from Economic Bear, but Zinna finally able to use the duplicate to take out Sellout, but Jacob's there to eliminate the duplicate, followed by M1 taking out the Echo. The res will come out onto Ash, surprisingly. They're even able to eliminate Chicken's mech, quickly followed by Wrecking Ball taking out M1, surprisingly. A lot of back and forth as the Battle Mercy comes out to take out the Baptiste, but Jacob and Flexible are able to clean up the Mercy Ash combo. And already Bayside High is going to have to go for that reset, but if they get back in time, they might be able to outspeed your Belinda.
Hashtag taking out the Baptiste is really, really big. It would have been really, really big if that were one of the first eliminations that they got. However, it's likely that your Belinda's Baptiste, ooh, if he got eliminated there, that would be big. But it's likely that that's huge. Zinnia's relation onto the Baptiste right there, that is gigantic and could possibly win them the fight, especially now that they're down both supports and another DPS due to Chicken with the Diva Bomb.
Yeah, it seems the ultimate usage from Bayside High was used at the right time when it mattered the most, and now Wrecking Ball finally going in with the help of his team is able to get a two-piece for himself, and one was able to eliminate Zinna, but Mercy is there with the res, so it seems that Belinda's going to have to give up this point and regroup for the card. Saving it to the last minute, Bayside High brings it together, and as you mentioned, as soon as they took out that Baptiste, they could take the point.
Absolutely, and especially Xenia getting that immediate follow-up elimination onto their Zenyatta. You were down both supports, and then Chicken came up and just kind of like cinched that fight with the Diva Bomb elimination onto Cole Cassidy.
Yeah, the Diva Bomb attempt from your Belinda is not able to pick up anybody, but the zoning capabilities definitely led them into the sidelines of your Belinda. Now, the Bongo coming out for Jacob, giving everyone they need a power boost, but it seems it's not enough as Bayside High is able to take out M1 and Rez onto the Zenyatta, as Sal is able to get that refrag onto the Wrecking Ball, but will lose his life to Zinna. Quickly followed by the Bob coming out from Ash, able to take out Jacob, quickly following, taking out Bear, so a two-piece for Bob there, as Flexible is also finally able to take out Zinna, but there he will lose his life to the Zenyatta 1v1, so Bayside High is able to come out of that engagement on top.
Your Belinda loses this if they're not able to take the high ground, right? Your Belinda is very much running a spam comp right now, less so with the swap to the Diva, but your Belinda's running a spam comp. They want to get eliminations on the approach, and right now Bayside is trying to do that same thing, so now this just kind of turns into like a high ground war, whose DPS can get more value.
Yeah, and with M1 also swapping off that Torp over to the Widowmaker, seeking to try to pick off maybe that Mercy or the Zenyatta in the backline, or possibly even the Ash in the sniper battles. But there goes Tracer pushing the cart just for free for Bayside High. Will finally have to give up the high ground for Jacob, but seems Bot's going to start this off with a two-piece onto both the Baptiste and the Orisa, with Flexible able to get the Sigma, but he is quickly res as their own Zenyatta takes out Sellout. Zenna takes out M1 as they didn't have any of their teammates to back them up. There goes Economic Bear on the Diva, quickly followed by Flexible. That is another solid team fight to the side of Bayside High as they continue to push this cart to the final checkpoint.
There were two main things that lost the defenders' second point there. The first was choosing as a spam comp instead of to take the high ground and force, at the cost of a little bit of cart pushing, to take the high ground and force them to approach you. They decided to take the fight on point, and that's not what you want to do if you're the hard spam comp. And then the second time, they abandoned the high ground. Everybody but Sellout, they abandoned the high ground and just let them have it. Usually what you want to do there is put just a single person or maybe a couple of people to contest one of your tanks while you try to win the high ground battle as fast as you possibly can. You don't want everybody to immediately abandon it, and you especially don't want it if just one person is rotating.
Yeah, and things starting off very well for Bayside High. They saw an early trade between the Ash and the Zenyatta, but the Mercy is there with the rest, so they're already down to support. Quickly followed by Zenna getting a two-piece for themselves. The cards continue getting pushed without contention. Your Belinda not looking too good, especially with M1 now swapping over to their own. Tracer is at that 80% for the Pulse Bomb, as well as Sal with the Deadeye, but with this Ash dominating these sidelines right now, Flexible will be able to take out Zenna, but the Mercy's there with the res again. They have not been able to contest these reses at all since she's been able to pop up. There goes the Deadeye, but right into the Sigma absorption. Saw Jacob on the wrecking ball trying to get it, but once again, Bot with this Bob calls it down and wins them this point. Your Belinda, as soon as they lost the first point, was not able to regroup and have a solid team fight where they would actually fight on their terms. Thing we talk about, Doc's Keys the game, take the fight when they least expect it, when they're unprepared. And right now, Bayside High was doing exactly that because Your Belinda was not able to regroup in time.
Your Belinda was not ready for Bayside High. You are 100% correct. If you're Your Belinda, what you want to do to turn this around is play together. Also, the biggest thing that was one of the biggest things that was hurting Your Belinda there was the taking of the scattered fights. Usually they would get an elimination or two. And normally what happens if you get an elimination or two on a scattered fight and you have the spawn advantage, you can slowly win that fight. Even though you're taking the scattered fights, you can slowly win. However, Bayside High with the Mercy was able to get the res every single time Your Belinda got that scattered fight one pick off, so just kind of like prevented them from even doing that, to where the only answer that they had was a team fight. And to be fair, team fighting is usually the answer, but having no backup especially hurt Your Belinda in that 3rd point push.
And so now we'll have to wait and see if they're able to do a better push on this first point, not have to go so close to that overtime this time around, especially because they definitely seem to have a better idea of what their team comp is starting off going up against Bayside High. So we'll have to also see how Bayside High's defense looks, because we have not seen them play the defensive all too much, especially coming off that control map that they did end up losing. So now with Your Belinda on the attack, seems that they're sticking pretty close to the team composition we've seen in the past, but they're also going for the Sim Brawl, but immediately knocked off by that Wrecking Ball will disrupt their entire plan, but they also get first blood onto Bog, but Zinna is actually going to get both the Symmetra and the Lucio in the back line. Seems that Bayside High also likes their high ground with the Sigma comp, trying to spam out the best they can with both supports. Briggs there is swinging her flail the best she can, but no one's even going to get close. And already Your Belinda's just going to have to wait for the regroup, losing those two members so early on in the fight and getting knocked down from the teleporter. It seems that they're just going to have to go for the ground push. They do have the ult percentage advantage. Now they're just going to teleport right up into the face. But it seems that the teleport was just too far off on the edge and multiple members are going to end up falling. Economic Bear is able to take out that Brig, but they do lose their main tank as well as Salah on the Symmetra. Zinna will finally get taken down by M1, who did swap over to the Cole Cassidy, who's been able to counteract. But the save from Flexible from falling off the map, as well as Economic Bear getting 2 melee eliminations, quickly followed by M1. They win this first point so much quicker than Bayside High did.
A couple of hiccups that Your Belinda will have to fix if they would like to continue to successfully push with the sim strat is, if you're going to TP to the high ground, you need to make sure all of your members are there. There's no real point. If somebody falls, they're going to get instantly eliminated. We saw that happen to sell out the Symmetra both times, dropped and then immediately was eliminated by Xenia, who's kind of playing the game of their life, to be honest, right now on that Tracer. And it looks like Bayside High is going to have high ground control, which is something that Your Belinda very much wants. So they'll have to figure out how to wrench this. One of the ways to do that is, again, TP your whole team to the high ground and make it a full team engage. They also have the Lucio boot, so they could potentially, and that elimination on Xenia definitely helps, and the double elimination on Zenyatta definitely it doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, definitely a good way to kick out the team fight is being that +2. They are only going to end up losing Flexible, but Bot getting taken out by Economic Bear, who's also playing a fantastic diva in this second bout of Hybrid now that they're on the attack. Definitely seems to be way more comfortable than on the defense. But if you look on the side of Bayside High, they have 5 ultimates, soon to be 6, are finally going to start pressing that Q, starting off with the Wrecking Ball Mines, and with the pin coming out onto him. Tries to get that elimination, but the Deadeye is going to be able to pick up Chicken, but quickly followed by both the Pulse Bomb and the Bob. Now the rally's coming out. We saw Your Belinda throw out every ult they had as well, but just simple trades in his bout is going to first start off with Zenyatta taking out Symmetra, then there goes M1, quickly followed by Bot, as well as the Moira. Economic Bear is just going to have to go for the suicide. It seems Your Belinda is going to have to go for the reset at this first checkpoint with only 0.94 meters remaining.
I can't believe that entire second point push, Your Belinda won the high ground battle from the low ground, pushing the cart. And then in the end, they ultimately lost because Bayside High used their ultimates better to greater effect. And they also lost because Jay Jacob, we were talking about main tank aggressiveness, charged across the map.
Yeah, he definitely also charged the wrong target who had the most shields at that time. And starting off with a great Gratific Flux, getting a lot of early damage, makes Jacob so low and vulnerable to a Tracer. They are even going to lose that Immortality field as well as the Diva Mech, quickly followed by the Baptiste. M1 will be able to finally take out Zinna, but it's too late for it to matter as Hashtag is able to take him out, quickly followed by Bot taking out Cell, and Economic Bear is going to have to go for the reset after losing Flexible, so your Belinda is going to eat up as much time as they have on that clock, winning first point so early on. So now we're going to have to wait and see how Bayside High is going to continue this winning defense right now.
Bayside High is running an almost perfect high ground defense. I say almost perfect because a third of their comp isn't geared for high ground defending at all.
Yeah, this Break loves swinging her flail from that high ground, not hitting anybody, but just for intimidating. Bob comes out once again and will be eliminated very quickly early on. A trade between both the Cassidy and the Tracer will be even across the board. Economic Bear is going to end up losing his mech to Chicken Nose. Sell on the Tracer will be able to take out the Wrecking Ball, and a great charge pin will finally land onto the correct target as the Amplification Matrix comes out. Cell gets a two-piece onto both the Zenyatta and the Sig. So that is the fight you want to see from your Belinda to secure that final point, and even the Deadeye is going to come out to zone them the best he can, but it will end up going by the wayside.
And as we set up here this next time, if you're Bayside, what you really want to do to subvert their next push is you want Chicken to land the Gravitic Flux of their life. Because once you get your Belinda off the point, defenders have the advantage, especially on this third point.
Yeah, and they even have the ult advantage going to this as well, having the 4 ults on board, both tank ults and both support ults, but seems that your Belinda is going to get as aggressive as they can with the Sound Barrier, trying to get the first elimination, and they will onto Bot, taking out any of that percentage that can be built. They are going to use the Gratific Flux, as you mentioned, but it will not be to as much avail, as they only are able to take out Jacob. And now Bot swapping over to that Cassidy to try to counteract the Ashe, not working out indoors as well as he had hoped. But Zinna is there to take out Flexible, quickly followed by the Zenyatta. After demeching the Diva, will be able to eliminate the Baby Diva, so your Belinda is going to have to go for a reset.
It cost them all 4 of their ultimates, but they were able to get them off the point. You probably, if you're Bayside High, you definitely didn't want that to have to cost 4 ultimates to get them off the point, but I mean, especially with M1 getting that elimination on Zinnia, your Belinda definitely still has a push here.
Yeah, and right now with that Deadeye using the best zoning capabilities that they can, trying to speed him around, but will only be able to take out the barrier of Sigma, so at least that's on cooldown now, so they don't have to worry about it.
Big.
Will win the 1v1 between Bot and even finish off Chicken, so they lose that tank capacity, quickly followed by a 3-piece coming out from N1, taking out the Wrecking Ball. Still maintaining this high ground that just hasn't worked out for them so well on this third and final point. Zenyatta even has to drop down, quickly followed by the Brig. She's able to finally take out M1, but Flexible is there with the refrag for his team, as Salah took out the Zenyatta so early on. So now they have to start contesting the car, waiting for the Wrecking Ball. The Pulse Bomb comes out, misses the Wrecking Ball just by an inch. Will be able to take out the Immortality Pill, so here comes out the Diva Bomb to zone him out, and will pick up 2 onto both Chicken and Boar on the Zenyatta, but now the Wrecking Ball is going to start his spin to win game around the car, taking out Baptiste, quickly followed by the Brig, taking out Rhine. So they're having the defense of their life as the Sound Barrier comes out for your Belinda. Just too late to save that Reinhardt. Now the mines coming out will seem to be enough as M1 once again wins that 1v1 against the other Cole Cassidy, but the rest of your Belinda has fallen. Now Economic Bear is going to get stalled out the best he can. Bayside High wins that defense after committing everything they have.
And Bayside High, likely, they will have to use the Gravitic Flux to great value. They will also probably combo it with a Pulse Bomb if they would like to get a full elimination as your Belinda on the approach. If you're your Belinda, you want to get a huge Deadeye or a huge Shatter. And you want to Shatter as far away from Chicken as possible because he's the only one that can do anything about it.
Yeah, so now all eyes are going to be on this Gratific Flux, how it's only going to be able to take out the Reinhardt. It's going to have to be to wait and see what the rest of the teams can do. Who this Wrecking Ball is doing his best to poke the backline. The Deadeye comes out, but it will land on 3 members. They did lose out Sellout, but simply the zoning capabilities of the Deadeye, they had no way to block it. And your Belinda gets the 3.
Destroy the shield, you get a big Deadeye. Shields are the biggest problem to a Deadeye, and we see this from the boss perspective, just kind of like sneaking around over there. But one of the eliminations of the Deadeye was on to Chicken, so that shows that they broke the shield or Chicken misplaced it. I'm going to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume that they planned for that, and together everybody was able to break it, and so they were able to cap that final point. Little bit close, not gonna lie. These teams are very, very evenly matched. I expect this to go several more maps. But if you're defending here, we see the Ana on the defensive side here. That'll be huge as long as you can keep the Ana safe. There are a lot of members on the side of both Bayside and your Belinda that like to flank and that are very good at flanking. So that Ana, part of their responsibility will be to keep themselves safe, but we also expect the Diva and the Mercy to peel for them because those are both very, very high mobility heroes that need to protect the Ana. We've seen exactly this happen with Chosen and Kel on the Boise State team. We've seen Chosen get under pressure as an Ana, land amazing sleep darts, but you only have so many abilities. And so that Diva peel is going to be huge, especially as we see their own Diva on the attacking side.
Yeah, so your Belinda back on the attack once again. This Tracer doing the best to poke and build some charge, but Bayside High loves their high ground. Sticking with that Echo again. Hopefully this Pocket Mercy will be able to work as well as you mentioned. So all eyes are going to be on the peel, but Jonix falling very low, barely able to escape with their life. But the members of Bayside High having very low health bars right now, where your Belinda's already on the point and showing a pretty dominant, but a great anti-nade is going to make Flexible have to stay out of the fight. Being very low will finally wear off, but Baptiste and Lucio so far being able to out-heal, and with the Mercy being the first elimination, quickly followed by M1 with the Tracer. Seems that they're here to fight and stay the best they can. They're able to get a second pip, able to take out the Ana as well. So as you mentioned, that peel was not able to happen. Chicken gets demeched and eliminated by Jacob, quickly followed by the Baptiste taking out the Wrecking Ball. So things are looking very good as your Belinda wins their first push.
The scariest thing for your Belinda right now is they will have to win the entirety of second point from the low ground looking up onto the high ground, because they can't leave the point to win the high ground fight, and they don't want to leave a single member there that can be easily picked off and lose the game for them, right?
Yeah, we don't want to see a C9 situation, because if anyone leaves the cart for more than a second, overtime will take over, and Zinna getting such an early elimination onto M1 is not what you want to see, but the Implication Matrix does come out as well as the Pulse Bomb, but it will not get any elimination. A great shatter coming out from the duplicate of Zinna, but will lead to only one elimination onto Jacob, but another great Diva Bomb coming out from Economic Bear, able to take out that Mercy Echo combo. So things are looking good, but now M1 is going to have to be able to win this one going against Tracer. Misses the flashbang as Sal is able to take out the Ana in the backline. The Pulse Bomb coming out onto the Diva will not even lead to the elimination of the Meg. Bot trying their best on this Tracer will get finally taken out by M1 as they regroup. Your Belinda won the team fight with Tracer in the backline the whole time. Against M1 was not enough.
They've won first fight, but this still... Bayside High gets one more or two, depending on whether or not they win one of them. They get two more fights here, so your Belinda is definitely not out of the woods yet. I expect M1 to use that Deadeye solely to take out the aerial units.
Yeah, and it seems that Nano Boost is going to be not enough to keep her alive, as the anti-nade is actually going to eliminate M1 quickly after. And now the res coming out onto Zinna. So now your Belinda is down one as the Valkyrie comes out for Bayside High. It's just an all-out brawl until Flexible is able to get the next elimination onto the main tank of Bayside High. So things are looking very good for your Belinda as the aggressive Reinhardt goes for the charge pin and gets it onto Ana, quickly followed by the Baptiste taking out the Tracer. And eliminating Chicken out of his mech. M1 swapping over to the Soldier 76 is able to take out the Mercy. The Baptiste is able to take out the Echo, so they are full anti-air right now.
Bayside High is going to keep losing this if they try to bring the brawl to your Belinda. Your Belinda, in every sense of the word, slightly less so with the Cole Cassidy swap onto the Tracer, is the better brawl team. Every time Bayside High brings the brawl to your Belinda, they're not going to be able to win that. They need to get eliminations long range or sneaky or somehow anywhere other than the brawl.
Well, Economic Bear tried to go for another Diva Bomb. Will not land on anyone as Zinna swapping over with the duplicate onto an own Diva is going to be able to get a triple kill with their own Diva Bomb and remech as Economic Bear has to go for the reset, quickly followed by Wrecking Ball taking out the Baptiste. The rest comes out onto Ana. Bayside High will finally win the one fight they needed after getting that second checkpoint for Yorba Linda. So now the pressure is all on Bayside High's attack because Yorba Linda got very far with the time they have.
If you're Yorba Linda, you are not feeling bad about that push at all. You made that entire thing from overtime on first point. You completely cleared second, cleared the first two corners of third. Amazing push by Yorba Linda. But it happened because Bayside High kept trying to take the brawl. They kept trying to take premature fights where they weren't at the advantage, and they didn't have positional advantage, they didn't have elimination advantage. If you're Bayside High, all you were looking for there was one good fight. And they finally found it with the use of ultimates and Xenia just popping off, as Xenia just occasionally does throughout this series of maps. So this attack is definitely going to be hard because it took a lot for Yorba Linda to get that far. It took a lot from Yorba Linda, a lot of amazing play from Yorba Linda, but it also took some mistakes on the side of Bayside High. So for Bayside High to be able to push it that far, they will have to play out of their minds and take advantage of Yorba Linda's own mistakes that will likely be made because, I mean, obviously no players are perfect.
Yeah, so now we have to see if they can make those mistakes quickly or as slow as Bayside High did on their own defense. Hopefully they make them a little bit quicker so they can take away and move this to a 2-0 because this is best of 5. So if they win this, the next game is match point for them. So the pressure's on for Bayside High to try to continue this competition, but seems they're going to go for a very close hold, going right into the face of Bayside High, able to take out Bot on that Tracer so quickly. M1 on this Cassidy has been popping off for sure. Now already Bayside High is going to have to go for a different strat as they will be able to res the Tracer, but now that's on cooldown for that full 30 seconds. So Yorba Linda can definitely play around that if need be. Once again, going back to this high ground, doing the best they can to poke it, but Yorba Linda can definitely out-sustain them with the Winston Zarya definitely trying to brawl, but as you mentioned, things are not going to end well for Bayside High, bringing the brawl to Yorba Linda, who has the much better brawl comp with the Baptiste as well as the Rhine. So they're doing their best to try to poke them down and find an easy target, but this Winston is going to get taken out by Economic Bear. Leaping up into the air will not save him this time, and the Deadeye coming out from M1 is able to land on both supports of Bayside High. And with 30 seconds remaining, at best they have time for one last team fight, as Bot was finally able to take out M1, but Cello and Flexible taking out two more of Bayside High, even finding out the Tracer in the back line. Things are not looking good for Bayside High with 10 seconds on the board. Pressure's on.
They get a scattered touch. At best, that's what they get. And they need Bot to get the pulse bomb of their life, and hopefully they can maybe charge a grab if they're in the fight that long.
Yeah, so they're going to kick things off with the Nano Boost, and they will be able to eliminate M1, but they're quickly going to lose both the Tracer and the Winston. So now the Duplicate's going to come out onto the Reinhardt as the rest comes out for the Winston, and a great shatter who will not land onto anyone, sadly, but it was there. But a better shatter coming out from the original Reinhardt, as well as the charge onto the Winston after he was even being rezzed. Will get a sleep dart onto the Reinhardt, so he's doing his best to stay alive, but right now, Bayside High does not have the members they need to maintain this. So the DPS is holding it the best they can. We'll be able to take out the Mercy as Zena finishes off Jacob on that Rhine. But Flexible's doing his best on this Lucio. Even with the sound barrier landing onto 4 members, will keep his team in the fight. Zena's doing their best to take out M1, but will end up losing that battle as Flexible is able to finish off Bot. Yorba Linda is playing the best defense they can right now. It's now Economic Bear with the Diva Bomb. Will come out onto point, not eliminate anyone because they have the Zarya as the grab comes out onto multiple members of Yorba Linda, and a great anti is going to be able to lead to the elimination of M1. But after getting off the point, Yorba Linda will hold it. A solid defense will take them to map number 3 being 2-0. A solid play from both sides.
It feels like this is a relatively even skilled matchup between Yorba Linda and Bayside. There are just a couple things that are going Yorba Linda's favor.
Yeah, so as we take a quick look over at Esports Tower, who invites you to improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. Make sure to sign up over at Esports Tower, where you get matched with professional players and coaches to help you rank up. So, a great, solid second map for Yorba Linda, but going into map 3, where we're actually going to head over to everyone's favorite mode, Assault.
Assault is definitely less than optimal because of the respawns and because of just the huge defensive advantage defensive team has not only on first point but second point. And with the defensive advantage coupled with the respawns, makes 2CP definitely unpleasant if you're the attacking team and both teams have to attack. On Assault, there are some maps that are better than other maps. Temple of Anubis is one of the more notable ones for being more pleasant in general to play on. This is because there's a variety of things that you can run. Typically what people go for on Temple of Anubis is where we are probably going to see some aerial play, likely from Bayside. You definitely can run a dive on Temple of Anubis, but you need to know that if you're running a dive on Temple of Anubis, you're probably running it into spam. And we've seen tons of teams struggle to run their dive into spam because it's just fundamentally not what dive was made for, right? You don't dive into these exceptional amounts of damage just totally by yourself. So it will be up to Bayside, who will probably be running a dive, and your Belinda, who will probably be running a spam. Just looking at the comps on paper, this looks like your Belinda will probably have the advantage on the Temple of Anubis map. So if you're Bayside, what you're looking for is not that map and not Hanamura either. If you're Bayside, what you want is Volskaya Industries. That is the most dive-friendly and the least spam-friendly. And as we've seen, Bayside keeps repeatedly falling victim to your Belinda spam. And Brawl, too, honestly. It felt like Blizzard World, that was their biggest problem, jumping into the Brawl as the dive, not ready to take the Brawl. Because if you're dive, what you want to do is give yourself a couple of advantages. You want to give yourself a couple of advantages before you take the ground Brawl, right? And they just weren't doing that, and so they lost the Brawl every time.
Yeah, so your Belinda definitely has to be feeling good after that matchup, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break so we can get some water. So we'll be right back after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of Your Belinda taking on Bayside High in some high school Overwatch. Your Belinda currently in a 2-0 position after winning Blizzard World. We're heading over to Assault. We have yet to know what the map is. I'm still your host, Brendan Bear-Ladd. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. And we talked a lot about kind of how Your Belinda is having the better team composition with all-out spam, whereas Bayside High is kind of going for a little bit modern dive, it seems, and not really working out. So heading over to Assault, what is something that we might want to see a change in for these teams? Because you did mention Volskaya Industry will be the better map for Bayside High.
So if it's not Volskaya, it's going to be really, really hard to run a dive, especially on Hanamura. You can kind of run a pseudo dive with a Symmetra second point, but that doesn't necessarily solve your problem first. I mean, you can do the same thing and kind of dance around high ground first point with Symmetra as well, but you can't really do that on Temple of Anubis. Temple of Anubis is definitely going to be the least dive-friendly and the most spam-friendly, which is going to spell doom for Bayside High if they continue to try to keep running the ball in particular. The ball is the one thing that we've never seen swap. We've seen chicken swap off of D.Va on a number of occasions, usually to the Sigma or something, whatever the situation benefits. But we haven't seen the ball swap. And if we go to Volskaya, or if we go to, Temple of Anubis, that's not a ball map. It's not going to work for you, and continually forcing it might end up costing them another map.
Yeah, and one thing that will hopefully prevent them from losing another map will be Doc's Keys to the Game as a refresher for both these teams. And of course, for Doc's Keys to the Game in Overwatch, that's to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? It means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared and when you can have ability advantages. And of course, that is brought to us by Drop-In Gaming, who is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play through your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the space or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, we are ready to jump into this match. We do not know what the map is just yet, so some exciting things, but hopefully we see Volskaya Industries. But also, I have to mention, you didn't bring up Paris at all. We do know it's Temple of Anubis, but Paris is always on the docket.
Paris is not something that either team typically picks because of the two CP maps. Paris is the worst, and in most competitive tournaments, Paris is actually not something that you can run. So if this is something that you can run, that might be a little bit different. But in most tournaments, you can't even run Paris, which is why we don't see it a lot, because the developers and the people that set up the tournaments recognize the fundamental problems with Terraps. This is Temple of Anubis. If you're a Your Belinda fan, you are celebrating, because this is the spam map. The map itself definitely favors Your Belinda. If you're Bayside, you're a little nervous because dive is not going to work here, especially if you're walking into direct spam. Bayside High is going to need to come up with some new comps, especially for attack. And on defense, dive might work a little bit better than on attack. But if you're Bayside High, you got to come up with something that we haven't seen yet.
Well, it seems that they're sticking with what they know, sticking with that Winston and Zarya, but this time bringing in a Symmetra. Sticking with that Ana, though, as well with the Brig. Very interesting comp on the side of Bayside, but Zinna sticking to this Tracer that they know and love. But also on the side of Your Belinda, we're going to see M1 over on an Echo, as well as the Zenyatta and their own Brig coming out. But Bot's going to actually get first blood onto M1, quickly followed by Jacob, evening things out, taking out Zinna. But Zinna will be back much quicker. So right now, Your Belinda's just having to play a little bit defensive with both the Zenyatta and the Brig, but they can definitely win the brawl going up against Bayside High. But seeing as Zinna comes back much quicker than M1, they're going to go right in with the Nano that they charged very quickly. But already Bot's going to get another elimination onto Flexible, quickly followed by Zinna taking out Sellout. There goes the Deadeye as well as the Transcendence to keep his team members alive. Your Belinda fighting for their lives as Economic Bear at the 1 HP with D.Va. Not finally going to end up losing the mech, quickly followed by Hashtag taking out the Zenyatta. Bot will completely wipe Economic Bear off the board, and they take point 1 very quickly. So we'll have to see if they will be able to snowball into point 2. But it seems that Jacob's doing their best to stall it out, followed by Flexible and M1. But a 3-man push will not win against a 6-man push.
I've truly got to question Your Belinda's decision to defend with dive tanks on the. I've truly got to question Yorbalinda's decision to suddenly switch to dive on a map that so heavily favors spam, which we know that they are already good at. We talked about Bayside probably going to have problems with forcing dive, but right now it's Yorbalinda, and I mean, it's working at least for M1.
Yeah, and M1 able to get that elimination onto Chicken, taking out their secondary tanks. But the duplicate in the background onto Ana, even going to sleeper and Nader will get the elimination before losing the duplicate. It seems at this point Yorbalinda might be a little bit memeing on Bayside High with that type of play, but Ashek's going to use the rally to keep his team in the fight. But it seems that no eliminations will come of it. Bayside High does have the ult advantage, but Economic Bear's trying to even it out with his own. You see 5 and 5 coming online. So right now, Yorbalinda's just kind of holding him the best they can, waiting to see who is going to make the first move.
And hopefully, if you're Bayside High, you want Chicken to make the first move because Grab would set up everybody else on their team who also has ult for success.
And it seems they're going to kick things off with both the Rally and the Nano onto Winston, but now Yorbalinda's going to answer it with their own D.Va self-destruct. The Grab attempts to get Zenyatta out of the way. He's going to zoom right past it, as well as the mines coming out for Yorbalinda. But now M1 swapping over to the Bastion. But Cell with his own Deadeye is going to one-up Bot, who only got one with his, so he's going to get that 2-piece. He's quickly followed by a near team wipe against Bayside High. Ana will eliminate Flexible, though, on the retreat.
Regardless of comp, if you're on the attack side on 2CP, especially Temple of Anubis, you can't lose. You can maybe lose one of your DPS on the push. This is why 2CP is, some would argue, an inferior sort of map. You can't lose anybody going into the attack. You can maybe lose a DPS, but the second you lose a support, you are absolutely done with that fight. It doesn't matter how many you're up, because they'll respawn immediately.
And it seems that they're trying to get a very early elimination onto that Winston, even with the Discord Orb, but will not happen because he also has Primal Rage. Falling below the 100 HP marker, will finally get healed up as Bayside High does have that on it to get a little bit faster healing, so he's going to jump right in the back line. Expect to see the Primal Rage coming out here quickly as once again Transcendence coming out. Yorbalinda's charging these Transcendences very quickly as Zinna wins the 1v1 against M1, who swapped over to the Tracer this time around and beat out Sellout and take out the Zenyatta. So they're on a 3-kill streak right now, looking very good. Make that 4 with the Pulse Bomb onto Flexible. Zinna is carrying their team right now, trying to take out this Bastion for Bot. Will finally be able to do so as M1 is swaps DPS again. And now Chicken's able to eliminate Economic Bear after being demech'd. Quickly followed by the Ana taking out Sellout. Zinna taking out the Zenyatta once again. Seems that Bayside High on this attack came alive, and Yorbalinda definitely with the misplay changing up their team comp.
Zinna says, get my tiny Tracer backpack and let's go, that last fight. Team wiping is incredibly hard to do on 2CP, and Zinna, with the help of the rest of their team, obviously, did that. So we cannot say enough how out of their mind Zinna has been playing. But if you're Yorbalinda, what you should be thinking right now is, this dive is absolutely not working for us. Especially because Zinna's getting a ton of value on the Tracer. Tracer gets little to no value against a spam comp. So at this point, the map doesn't favor their dive, and Bayside High's own playstyle doesn't favor their dive, because that's also part of what's happening. They tried to play Bayside High's dive game, and Bayside High wins that by experience.
Yeah, so now we have to wait and see how Yorbalinda's attack's going to go, whether they decide to stick with this kind of modified dive that they've been running with the ball, as well as that D.Va. Economic Bear doing very well on that D.Va, to say the least, but Jacob on this Wrecking Ball has yet to really make a name for themselves. They did very well on the Reinhardt, so I'd love to see a return to that. But it seems Bayside High is also going to stick with what they know with the Winston Zarya, as well as that Tracer, the Brig, and the Ano. Have not seen what their last DPS is, I believe, but I would assume it would be something along the lines of an Echo or an Ashe, hopefully, just because of how they've been playing. And
Widowmaker.
Widowmaker for Yorbalinda on the attack, no less, trying to win the sniper battles against Bot on this Ashe. Seems like he's going to be able to at least zone them out. Tracer's trying to get all the way up top, but will not make it. And then Jacob being the first one to fall now on the support role. with Flexible taking over the role of main tank on that Wrecking Ball. Will even lose the sniper battle, so Salad should hopefully try at least one more time with that attempt and maybe swap off. M1 doing their best on the Cassidy to counteract Zinna on this Tracer, who's just been near unstoppable. Bot once again getting such an early elimination onto that Zenyatta with the Dynamite, quickly followed by taking out the Baby Diva. Belinda has not had a solid attack, especially with Flexible being off by themselves as the main tank.
Sellout made the correct decision in swapping immediately off of the Widowmaker to the Tracer. Not because Widowmaker doesn't win the long-range duel with Ash, because Widowmaker absolutely does, but because Sellout was unable to win that duel. Oh my gosh, and Ash bot carrying, getting another amazing shot onto Sellout. This is not Sellout's game right now.
Yeah, M1's been doing their best to pull the DPS weight, but Sellout has not been able to even get an elimination, I believe, so far. Now with an anti landing onto the Zenyatta, it seems M1's going to capitalize and take out Zinna, but quickly followed. He's going to get the Deadeye onto the Ana after getting knocked up by the Wrecking Ball, but Winston is there to take out the Tracer at least. So Cell is really not having a good game, but even after getting a two-piece, seems that Your Belinda will not be able to push, and with the Primal Rage taking out Jacob after the rallies coming out for Bayside High, things are not looking good for Your Belinda. Economic Bear's only able to take out one and eat the grab though. So huge value for Economic Bear, even getting the self-destruct onto Chicken. Says, I'll eat your ult and take your life, please. Zinna once again has Zenyatta's name, but gonna get slept in the air. Flexible gets knocked down as Zinna takes out M1 once again. Now Jacob with their own rally onto the point. Your Belinda finally getting on the aggressive, but not having the time advantage like Bayside High did when they attacked. Gonna win the 1v1 for Jacob in the Brig battles. Quickly followed by Flexible, taking out the Winston. Jacob once again taking out the support of the Ana. So it seems that Your Belinda is going to secure this against Bayside High, but they don't have the Diva mech.
And they also don't have the ultimate advantage going to the second point. So, I mean, on paper, this next fight that they're going to go into looks like it will belong to Bayside High. If you're Your Belinda, what you want to do is get Bayside High to use both of their ultimates and possibly the Nano if they charge at this fight, so that you can go in with all of your ultimates next fight. If you're Your Belinda, that's what you want to do. If you're Bayside, you want to stagger the use of the Pulse Bomb and the Bomb.
Yeah, but starting a great team fight off with a 4-man anti, quickly followed by a pulse bomb onto M1. Zinna knows to target their counter, so they can just have a field day in the backline of Your Belinda. Quickly followed by the Ana with the anti-nade taking out the Zenyatta, but Sellout will be able to get the refrag onto the Winston.
We have Jay Jacobs swapped onto the Brig, whereas previously they had been playing Reinhardt and main tank. So it looks like they recognized their own struggles with playing ball, and they swapped to the Brig instead of back to the Reinhardt.
A slow Dynamite Burn will be able to de-mech Economic Bear, so once again they're going to have to wait for them to charge it up, as they will not be able to suicide off any of the edges of this map, as it is Temple of Anubis. So one of the other perks of picking Volsky Industries, you could suicide as the Diva and get your mech back just that much quicker. We'll finally be able to get it. Doesn't get the remech kill, but the Baby Diva elimination onto the Winston. Flexible coming in with those mines will be able to take away the high ground from bot on this Ashe. But with the Monkey already spawning back in time, the rally is doing their best to keep their armor from this grab. Not going to land on anyone. Now the Transcendence coming out, as well as Bob. The Pulse Bomb is there to take out Economic off his mech once again. But Flexible will get the first elimination onto Chicken from that Zarya. Bot is able, with the Dynamite, take out Economic Bear. Zinna is still doing very well, takes out Jacob in the backline. M1 is finally there to do his job and take out the Tracer. Quickly followed by Bot, taking out Sellout. M1 once again taking out Jonix. But it seems Your Belinda did not have the pressure to stay on the point, as Flexible's overstaying his welcome and might even get eliminated. Will get eliminated by Chicken, as M1 also falls to hashtag. So Your Belinda needs to change up to their strat. Seems like they're going to start that with the Ana and the Hanzo.
It felt like Bot was a little bit lackluster the rest of their maps, but they were clearly just saving all of their effort to pop off on Ashe on Temple of Anubis. Bot has been an absolute menace. So amongst the growing number of things that Your Belinda must do to win, counter Bot is incredibly high on that list, because Bot has just been out of their mind, getting 2 to 3 eliminations every push and getting several picks in between fights before the fight even begins.
Yeah, and this fight is getting ready to kick off, and they're going to kick it all off with a Diva Bomb. Not going to land onto any members of Bayside High, though. Oh, but this time we'll be able to get it back in time. The Pulse Bomb will land onto M1. The Defense Matrix was not there to save him in time. Zinna taking out both DPS with the melee onto Zal, makes that a 3-piece, make that a 4-piece onto Jacobs and Flexible. Zinna is carrying their team. I feel bad for their back after that type of play.
Absolutely, their tiny little tracer back. It's a wonder that all of those team members can fit in their Bayside High. Both of their DPS are absolutely doing their job. It feels like with everything going on with both of their DPS getting a ton of eliminations, everybody else's job on Bayside High has been made much easier by the fact that Zinna and Bot have decided, now is my time, I team kill every fight.
Yeah, and right now, Yorbalinda only has the Deadeye, but with a great anti-nade is going to eliminate that from the equation, as now only Flexible has the ult. With only 50 seconds remaining, they have time for about one more team fight with multiple members of Yorbalinda falling, being that the Ashe, the McCree, and the Ana. Not even taking a single member of Bayside High out. The Pulse Bomb's back online for Zinna, so that's going to have to be Yorbalinda's win condition, is take them out or try to eat that Pulse Bomb.
Especially if you're Bayside High, you're looking to combo that Pulse Bomb probably with Chicken's Grab, which they've been slow to charge. Yorbalinda, however, might just be able to overpower them with the sheer amount of ultimates, as long as they can do it before the rally, before Bayside High's rally goes off.
Yeah, and it seems that they're going to utilize, as you mentioned, with that grab, the Pulse Bomb able to take out both supports from Yorbalinda, and that's going to put their push, stop it in their tracks, taking out both the Diva as well. So now it is all on Flexible to keep this alive, but sleeping him is going to end it. The rally is going to come out for Bayside High, and that ends Yorbalinda's winning streak right now as Bayside High finally takes one off them. So we're heading to a map 4. Yorbalinda's not able to 3-0. So good on them. But here at Boise State, we are always looking for talented players, as well as production or even casters to come join us on the desk. So with good grades and eligibility, you might be able to join this production. Make sure to check us out over at boisestate.edu/esports. We'd love to have you. And with plays coming out from both teams, Yorbalinda having a very strong start and then quickly followed by Bayside High winning map 3 and preventing the 3-0 sweep, these players have some promise.
It feels like there's an equal amount of promise on both teams, right? These teams are relatively around the same individual skill level, right? It feels like Bayside High for the first couple of maps was falling victim to mostly the wrong comp, like running, for example, running Ball into things that Ball just cannot do anything against, right? And it feels like Yorbalinda is actually the one that did that, and consequently they lost, but they swapped off of their spam, which we know is good. We saw was good. We saw them take out Bayside multiple times, just full stop their whole push with the spam comp that they decided not to use on Temple of Anubis, which is a spam map. So it really feels like between these two teams, Yorbalinda and Bayside, what it's going to come down to is who's playing the better comp for the situation.
Yeah, so next map heading over to Escort. So as we wait for that to kick off, we're going to take a quick short break. So we'll be right back after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of Your Belinda taking on Bayside High in a best of 5. This is one of the few matches we've seen go past a third map in a best of 5. So we're heading over to map number 4 on Escort. We have yet to know what the map is, but I'm still your host, Brenner Bearlad. Joined with me to call all the action is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So we just saw a kind of bigger upset of Your Belinda maybe shooting themselves in the foot, letting Bayside High take Temple of Anubis. So now heading over to Escort, it's going to be a fresh face of a map.
Rialto is another map that heavily favors spam, especially on defense. There are a lot of different high grounds that you can there are a lot of high grounds and there are a lot of long sight lines. On the side of Bayside, what you have going for is Bot showed that they were an amazing hit scan. They won the Ashe Widowmaker long range duel. And I cannot emphasize to you how impressive that is. So if your Widowmaker and your Ashe are on the same skill level, the Widowmaker will win that every time, because that's just what Widowmaker does. But Bot was able to completely win that, and that was amazing. So if you're Bayside, what you really want to do is play around Bot and hope they play like they just did against Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, so going into Rialto for Escort, we are definitely ready to jump into this matchup, and these teams have definitely showed that they are equal matches, and so hopefully we see Your Belinda return to kind of that spammy comp that worked for them so well in the first place, but whereas at the same time we saw Bayside High kind of running that Orisa Sig, so that could work really well if they're on the defense first for Rialto, because they can pull you right off the edge. So we'll have to wait and see what team decides to go for the environmental kills or just get on the aggression that worked out so well for Your Belinda.
We've definitely seen both at not at the high school level yet, but at the collegiate level, we've seen teams get almost full stopped first point just because their Orisa and usually comboed with their Lucio are just getting huge environmental eliminations because you have to go over a bridge. Either way, you have to go over a bridge. So there's just amazing environmental opportunity on Rialto at this first point of the map.
We could also see a DPS change-up of a Pharah. We've seen a lot of Echo, but Pharah can work on this first point for sure with that boop. As you mentioned, those environmental kills can definitely pay off, but Bayside High also bringing out a Hanzo this time around. It seems like we might see some Hanzo 1v1s if we can get a quick look at that team roster, and it will be. But Zena returning to this Echo with his Pocket Mercy of hashtag, as well as Floor on the Ana once again. Jonix sticking to that Winston, as well as Chicken sticking to their Zarya, but Jonix is going to be first blood as Flexible returning to the Lucio role. He's going to get that first blood as Jacob is back on the Reinhardt. So it seems that this is going to be kind of the more spammy comp that we know from Your Belinda that has worked so well for them.
Worked so well for everybody except for Flexible, who overstayed their welcome and got immediately eliminated by Zena, who's been having a series of amazing games, and it's always been a bright spot for Bayside High, no matter the map or who they're on.
Yeah, they've definitely been the carry of this team, but now Economic Bear is going to help Sella take out this Wombo combo of the Echo Mercy. The Hanzo 1v1s are happening to the best of their abilities, but no elimination is going to come up between those as Economic Bear gets another elimination onto Jonix, quickly followed by the Baptiste taking out Chicken. So it looks like once again Bayside High is going to have to regroup and go for another push.
What we're watching from Yorba Linda right now feels much more familiar to what we saw from them on the first 2 maps. They seem to have kind of gotten it together, swapped their comp. Zinna almost overstaying their welcome and almost getting headshot there, but not quite. And so now they will go hard on the flank, go ahead and bring their pocket with them. I expect big things to come for this, or both of them to get immediately eliminated. There is no in between.
Yeah, and kicking things off with a self-destruct onto Jonix with that Winston will even end up falling off the edge as he does not have his boost to bring him back to life. Hashtag will also end up having to suicide. Yorba Linda's very strong defense recognizes that, as you mentioned, the Echo Mercy's in the backline, and with the Sonic Arrow gets the elimination as well. The stalling out, Bayside High is not looking good.
That is the second time Zinna and Hashtag have been caught out on the flank. I think they should stop doing that at this point because Yorba Linda knows you're there, and Yorba Linda's going to do something about you being there, and you're just going to go off the map and be down 2. So if you're Bayside High, you're Echo and your Mercy, probably want to push the front with the rest of your team, and it looks like they're doing that to the great success of getting an elimination on bat.
Yeah, that's the start you exactly want to see as Jacob is able to eliminate Zinna's duplicate twice, surprisingly, as Cell finally does get the Deadeye elimination on Bot even after they use the Dragon Strike, as well as Flexible with a great sound barrier landing onto all the remaining members, but will not be able to keep Cell alive as Hashtag is there with the res to keep Bot back in the fight. The Bull support ults coming out here with the Nano Boost, and the Valkyrie will finally fade out as Blore is able to trade out with Flexible. Quickly followed by Bot, taking out the Baptiste again so early on. Seems that Yorba Linda is just going to have to give up this first checkpoint because they will not be able to contest in time. But with only a minute on the board, they stalled out Bayside High for a long time.
Not a bad defense. Not a bad defense at all on the side of Yorba Linda. Actually, very, very good. And especially with the elimination onto Zinna, you have a little bit of an extra fight. The res comes out. Zinna's back in the fight. Yorba Linda is going to reset around this corner, and this corner is definitely very holdable. This is usually where you defend second point. It's the most defensively oriented place, especially you can come to the windows and kind of peek out, and it looks like Yorba Linda is doing exactly that as we prepare for our next team fight.
Yeah, pushing into the Zarya, and Winston will throw out the grab, but Ryan is there to block out all the damage he can as it didn't be the playmaker that you want to see from a grab. They're going to end up losing Chicken Jocks as well as Bot. Yorba Linda playing a great defensive game, able to take out both tanks as well as that DPS. So it seems that the 2 supports and Zinna are going to have to back off, as well as Yorba Linda is going to have to back off so they can reset for this next fight, which is looking to kick things off pretty quickly as they're ready with that duplicate.
Yorba Linda's possible biggest mistake in regards to Zinna is letting them charge their ultimate as easily as they are. Jay Jacob and Economic Bear are just letting Bayside High Zinnia completely farm them, and I mean...
A great Shatter's going to kick off that fight as they got on the aggressive. Jacob's going to get a 3-piece for themselves as the 2 tanks end up falling to Economic Bear as Flexible, but I would not be surprised if that's not play of the game because that was a fantastic Shatter that led to those 5 eliminations.
Absolutely, you can let the Echo farm you all you want if you just walk in next fight and eliminate them.
And now is kicking things off with both the duplicate and the self-destruct with Zinna is finally going to be able to take out Flexible again. As the high noon comes out for Zinna, but will not lead to eliminations. But finally, was going to pick up M1 at the very tail end of it. So Salad's going to be one of the last surviving members of that team fight and going to have to back off. But Yorba Linda definitely has plenty of time to engage at least 2 more team fights if they can't contest the cart here.
Anna's going to almost take out Sella there. Blore playing very bravely, challenging the Cole Cassidy to the mid-range fight.
It's hard to say Flexible's not kind of throwing with how aggressive he's been getting on a Lucio, getting eliminated almost the first time every time. And now with M1 over on the Tracer trying to fight a Winston is not what you want to see as Zinna uses that beam to burn down Baptiste. Again, now Bot taking out Sellout, just standing still, no tanks to protect him at all. Zinna going on a tear, taking out Jacob and Flexible. Zinna, I feel so bad for your back with how hard you are carrying this team because they would be hopeless without you.
Part of it is also hashtag at this point. You can't mention an Echo without mentioning their Pocket Mercy.
Respect for sure.
Hashtag did not ask for this disrespect. They did not follow their Echo on a failed flank twice in a row to be ignored as a Pocket.
But Flexible, being as aggressive as they are, will be able to finally eliminate Bot, but quickly will be res back as they can't contest it. But the Amplification Matrix coming out, as well as a grab onto both tanks, as well as the anti and the sound barrier, and the Valkyrie coming out. They're pressing all the ults to continue pushing this through. Bot is going to be able to pick up one with the double dragons, as well as Sellout, quickly followed by M1, taking out both DPS. This is looking like a very good attack for Bayside High.
I think you're right. It does not feel like Yorbalinda has gotten any Lucio value in terms of the team. And they definitely haven't gotten any Lucio value individually in the 1v1s either.
So now with M1 getting eliminated first, quickly followed by Flexible, they start off these team fights and make it even with a great Economic Bear coming in with that self-destruct. Definitely even things out, taking out that Mercy, no more rest. You can win this team fight, but the duplicate came out for Zinna. It's going to be on the Diva, and their own Diva Bomb will be able to de-mech Economic Bear, or with the help of Chicken behind him the whole time. Sellout's going to use that Deadeye to no avail, but just to the zoning capabilities. We are going to see both the Pulse Bomb and the Remech coming online. The Pulse Bomb is going to get thrown immediately. Will not land onto any members as Chicken's able to eliminate Jacob, who just once again got too aggressive, but has Economic Bear right behind him to get the refrag onto Chicken. And now, finally, Flexible with the aggressiveness will be able to take out Bot. They clean things up, but with 30 seconds left on the board, this is probably going to be the last team fight for Bayside High.
And if you're Bayside High, what you're looking for is Chicken to charge their ultimate immediately so that you can combo it with the Dragons, because it is incredibly unlikely for the side of Yorbalinda that Flexible will be able to charge a sound barrier in time to subvert the Grab Dragons. Grab Dragons is your win condition if you're Bayside High right now.
Yeah, and really good swaps on the side of Bayside High with hashtag swapping over to the Brig and Zenna swapping over to the Tracer that we've known them to be able to carry on. And now opening up with the Dragons, so not going to utilize that grab because she was taken out so early on. Now the Nano's going to come out from Lore, but will it be enough as they're able to take out both supports as well as Sal on the Cassidy? So now it is down to the tank players of Yorbalinda to keep their team alive. And a great shatter onto the remaining 3 members of Bayside High at the point are going to be able to take out Lore in the background as M1 is going on a tear, is going to be able to win the 1v1 against Xena as well, but Bot is there to take out Economic Bear. Things are looking very good for Yorbalinda right now, just trying to take out the remaining stragglers. Bot is doing their best to keep this alive. Will get taken out by the Pulse Bomb as they didn't have the dash away. The Deadeye is going to be there to take out Chicken with M1 carrying their team in these last final moments, taking out Jox. Quick followed by Economic Bear taking out hashtag, who swapped over to the Lucio. And so right at that final moment, Yorbalinda pulls it out, having that spawn advantage.
Which is usually what you do if you're the defending team on third point Rialto. A lot of people talk about the impossibility of attacking second point 2CP, but not enough people talk about Rialto last point, because Rialto last point is also incredibly difficult to fight. I mean, you're being funneled into a room and their respawns are immediately right there. It's nowhere near as bad as 2CP, but it's definitely the single most painful part to attack on Rialto especially, and almost in all of Escort.
Yeah, so now going over to Yorbalinda on the attack this time around. They had an amazing defense, which we saw as well on Control and even Hybrid for that matter. So now will they be able to continue it now, hopefully sticking to the team comp that they've been winning with. We don't want to see them kind of shoot themselves in the foot once again, going back over to kind of that modified dive that they ran on the Assault. So hopefully they stick to that spammy comp that's been working out so well. But on that Hanzo was keeping his team alive in those final moments even after Zenna got eliminated.
Bot is very good at the sniper hit scan. Well, I mean, not even hit scan because Hanzo is projectile. Bot has been more than coming alive these past couple of games, and you can feel the difference that Bot has been making for Bayside High.
Yeah, he's definitely warmed up after those first 3 games, that's for sure. But Zenna, the return of this Echo Mercy combo will hopefully pay dividends for them. But now Bot's over on the Cassidy, and Zenna's going to get first blood onto M1, who just got too aggressive this time around. So I would actually really like to see a swap off that Tracer just because of the aerial capabilities. And that is exactly what I want to see to the Soldier 76. That's exactly what you need to take them down. But Economic Bear is playing an amazing Diva right now. Countering that anti-air, is able to take out Zenna and prevent the res as they're getting on the aggressive. Once again, Flexible pushed up way too far. It's going to get taken out by Bot.
It feels like with the Lucio, Yorbalinda is almost playing 5v6. They're not getting any team value, and they're certainly not getting any individual value either. Zenna, however, definitely is as they come up onto Sellout, and honestly, a trade is not that bad if you're Doomfist doing it for Cole Cassidy.
Yeah, now he's even going to get res with the Nano going on to the Winston. Things are looking very good for Bayside High on this defense, eliminating 4 members of Your Belinda. Make that 5. Will it be a team wipe? But they're not able to get Sellout in time because he was too early on in that fight. But Zeno with the swap over to the Doomfist, a new face we haven't seen in this matchup, definitely caught Your Belinda off guard.
Caught Your Belinda off guard, and that is one of the things that you need to do as a Doomfist if you would like to win the Cole Cassidy Doomfist 1v1. Because most times, there's only one way that's ever going to end up, and it's with the Doomfist eliminated. But in this case, Zeno was able to do something unexpected, the immediate swap, and take out Sellout.
Yeah, we also saw the res attempt coming out from Hashtag, and it was canceled, so that does put it on cooldown. Zena is able to take out Sellout, like you mentioned, but M1 is there with those rockets to take him out. So now with the Baptiste getting a 2-piece of their own, seems that they're going to secure this first checkpoint because an elimination onto Jonks just like that, Economic Bear, is going to secure this first checkpoint and continue pushing the cart for Your Belinda.
It feels like Bayside High is also having more success with Jonks on the monkey as opposed to the ball. It feels like with Bayside High, Jonks was doing a similar thing to Your Belinda's Lucio on the ball, but now with monkey, that's somewhat alleviated.
Yeah, and with the meter strike coming out right on the point of both tanks, now the Deadeye coming out will be fired, but 1 HP is going to manage to survive. Now with Blore taking out the Baptiste and Flexible getting eliminated once again by Bot. These two supports have managed to be eliminated first in almost every fight. And I don't know if that's amazing targeting from Bayside High, but I'll have to wait and see.
Sure, we can call it amazing targeting. I mean, we don't need to mention the fact that they're the only target within 100 meters that's inside Bayside High's team.
They're definitely playing like they're all Briggs right now of just, I can do anything I want. And now with the Nano coming out onto the Winston once again, Zena is going right in onto M1 consistently, but this time Sellout is there with the refrag for his teammate. Seems whichever DPS Zena targets, the other one takes them out. Boar is able to try to even this out and get a 2-piece as an Ana, no less, taking out the Baptiste as well as Sellout. But M1 swapping over to the Widow will be able to take out Blore, as well as Economic Bear with a great Diva Bump taking out Chicken. Definitely trying to take space as this Diva. Widow in the close combat with the Doomfist is quite interesting.
I am honestly not sure what M1 expected there. I think they didn't scout that appropriately before they tried to hook up there. You definitely don't want to hook into the enemy team as Widowmaker.
Yeah, and with Bot getting res, able to take out the Jacob on that Reinhardt once again. Flexible, he comes back alive, boosts right onto cart and dies once again. Sellout just way overextended. They're going to have to go for the reset as we went from the Baptiste over to a Moira this time around, so losing a lot of healing potential.
It's not necessarily the healing potential that's the concern with the swap from Baptiste to Moira. It is the fact that there is much less damage and you don't have Immortality Field, one of the most powerful abilities in the game.
And now with a great grab landing onto 4 members, the Sound Barrier is there to keep them alive, and they're going to zone out that Deadeye. But Zena is going to end up losing their life, just moving it probably a bit too quick for their own good, is going to get caught out. And with elimination onto both DPSs as well as Winston, quickly followed by Chicken and Hashtag. They might be able to get this cart if they push it with all 3 members quick enough. Definitely taking that space as well. Economic Bear doing their best Diva that we've seen tonight so far, taking out Zena once again. Now Hashtag swapping over to the Brig. They hovered that Lucia for a split second but changed their mind.
And now Bayside High has swapped Zena over to the Tracer. Your Belinda should be very afraid as they go in here. Sellout, it is all up to you to counter the monster that is Zena's Tracer.
Yeah, and M1 sticking to this Widowmaker is also a very interesting choice going up against Zena, who is the Widowmaker as well, with this Moira who's getting way too aggressive with this Coalescence with nobody around them just getting aggressive. Definitely cost them Sellout's life there. Trying to burn down that Winston when he just threw down the shield. He's going to try to heal up Economic Bear. They can, while Jacob in the backline able to take out the Ana. Quickly followed by Bot, losing their life to the Primal Rage coming out from Jacob here. Whereas M1 did finally swap over to a Torbjorn for this final push.
And the Torbjorn might be a little bit difficult to get value out of on the attack. I think they are playing for Torb Ultimate because a Torb Ultimate would win you this point, a well-placed one. Bayside High, in terms of ultimates, they have the chicken grab, and it looks like it will not be super huge in terms of landing at all. Chicken's grabs have been somewhat lackluster this whole game, but Hashtag still does have almost the rally, and they could use that aggressively or defensively.
And kicking things off with a great Deadeye
Or you could
onto
just do
Flexible, and Sellout is going to give you that leg up you need in this fight as Zena makes sure to close that out, taking out the other support. So Yorbalin is going to have to go back and regroup. But they started off that fight very wonky as Bayside used the Pulse Bomb, took out the mech, and then used the grab and didn't land on anybody. So a bit of possible misplays or miscommunication on the side of Bayside High. But with both support ults online for them, Zena's going over to another new face of the DPS, Reaper.
And we will see how Zena does on the Reaper. The swap is a little bit questionable because they were doing perfectly fine on Tracer, but maybe they think they need something else.
Yeah, and with a great sound barrier like that, leaning onto 5 members as well as the Coalescence coming out, Economic Barrier is probably soon to follow with that self-destruct. As Cell does manage to pick up one with that Deadeye, quickly followed by Jacob taking out Chicken, and Economic Barrier taking out Jonks. Flexible finally winning a 1v1 of his life, taking out Zena on the Reaper. Now everyone is changing things up for full out. Sol Hashtag over the Lucio, Jonks on the Wrecking Ball, and Bot on the Tracer, who loses their life immediately. As Economic Bear on the Ana is gonna be able to take out the Ana. M1, as you mentioned, that Torbjorn ult can win them this point, able to take out Hashtag. Now Sellout takes it. Your Belinda gets the 3 checkpoints and wins against Bayside Tigers.
That's what M1 swapped for, by the way, the hammer kill, the hammers on the point. That is the sole reason they went to Torb. I cannot be convinced otherwise.
I mean, Zena was, their back must be broken after that. Bot started carrying their weight as well towards the end, but a hard loss for the Bayside Tigers. But that is not the end of Overwatch for the night, however, because we do have another matchup coming up after this between Meridian Technical and another high school that I have forgotten the name of, so that is my fault. But your final thoughts on that matchup?
My final thoughts on the matchup are this was easily anybody's game. The team that ran the better comp won. And in a lot of cases, that ended up being Your Belinda. And we definitely saw that Your Belinda is not completely invaluable. Temple of Anubis 100% proved that this was a matter of comp between the two teams, not necessarily individual ability, though there was a lot of individual ability that deserves to be recognized. For example, M1 on the DPS deserves to be recognized for their amazingness. Zena is another one that you cannot talk about this match tonight without mentioning them. And Bot really came alive after Your Belinda was struggling. It took him a couple maps to warm up, but definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, so then would you say Zilla is player of the game of this matchup, or would you want to give it to someone on the side of Your Belinda, who is maybe a much better team but doesn't have as much standout individual play?
Zena definitely did a lot for their team and definitely would be a worthy player of the game, but somebody that we haven't mentioned was JJ on the Reinhardt and the Brig. They did a fantastic job as both main tank and support.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have to wait and see who that is, but we are going to throw it to a quick break before we head into this next matchup of Overwatch, so make sure to stay tuned.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables. But last week, I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
Greater the challenge, the the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are here to kick things off with Meridian Technical taking on Eastside High. Hey, this is going to be a best of 3 this time around, kicking things off on Ilios as well. I'm still your host, Brenda Bearlat. Joined with me to call all the action is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So now we're not starting with Oasis, we're starting off with Ilios. A little different meta, so walk us through that.
So Ilios Well is arguably the most famous of all of the Ilios maps. Ilios in general is something that you can run a Far Mercy, or as we were seeing Xenia, get a lot of value off of Echo Mercy as well. So I expect to see some level of aerial play, and anytime you're talking about aerial play, you must mention Cole Cassidy. You must mention Ashe, who will have less success than Cole Cassidy, but still a great amount of success, and you must mention Widowmaker, who will probably have the least success of the 3, but would be really, really good for countering any of those aerial issues. And Cole Cassidy is another hero that is often used over his other hit scan counterparts because he has other uses in addition to picking things out of the sky. That stun is huge. The abbreviation for his name, Cole Cassidy, CC, is exactly what he does best.
Yeah, and one thing that can definitely help these players maybe get the advantage going up against a Cole Cassidy will be Doc's keys to the game. And in Overwatch, what does that mean? That means to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? That means to take fights in unexpected places, when they are unprepared, and when you can have ability advantages. Of course, that is brought to us by Drop-In Gaming, who is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Make sure where you can play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, make sure to sign up, dropingaming.com. So, these matches are sure to be much quicker than our last one because it's only a best of 3 this time round. So we could see them going the distance on Control, whereas in the last matchup, it was a clean 2-0.
And clean is definitely the way to put that in the last matchup. Ilios is usually whoever has the better aerial or whoever has the better hit scan win. But independent of the DPS, some tanks that we can see is we see a lot of Reinhardt on lots of different maps in high school. We always see that. We also see it in collegiate as well. But some tanks that are really, really good for Ilios, well, in particular, are Orisa that we see pretty often in some other comps. But Hog. Roadhog is somebody that can be pulled out in these in this well, and you can get great Hog value, especially if paired with an Orisa. And part of that is the environmental kills, but part of that is also just the unexpectedness of running a Hog and his ability to completely one-shot somebody.
Yeah, so as we get ready to jump into this matchup of Meridian Technical taking on Eastside High on Ilios, first map isn't actually going to be it's going to be the Lighthouse. So with how much stress we've kind of put on for the well coming up to this, if it even goes to all 3 maps, we might just see Ruins be the next one for the Ilios matchup. We are already seeing through just a little bit of the highlights, a Hog is going to be here no matter what.
And that's definitely something that you see on Ilios more often than any other map, the Hog. And as we set up, we also have the Pharah, because Ilios is a series of very open maps. It looks like they're going against a sort of dive comp, so that Pharah might struggle a little bit more because they don't have the complete high ground control that they're looking for, and the Monkey will chase them. And that's actually Fem Neptune on the Pharah that is going to get eliminated there, who usually main tanks for Meridian Tech.
Yeah, so a bit of a comp bump for Meridian Technical that we are used to as the hack comes out onto Big Boofus, but Daydream is there with the rest to bring Fem Neptune back. But Monkey from the side of East High will be able to eliminate Big Boofus. So they're going to lose that tank. But Meridian Technical having a very strong showing on the point, trying to stay alive from kind of the all-out siege happening from East Side High right now. They will finally end up going in as the Monkey dives in. And the hack coming out onto Soup leads to elimination from Frozen Phoenix onto the Cassidy, quickly followed by the Sombra taking out Soup, and Monkey taking out Daydream, then Phoenix taking out Fem Neptune, ALW taking out Dragonfire. Big Boofus will be able to pick up one, but finally Eastside High is able to cap that point.
And it feels like Meridian Tech is not completely ready for East High over here, and part of that might be the swap of Soup and Fem Neptune. Fem Neptune is usually the premier main tank for Meridian Technical, but right now they're on the DPS on the Pharah, and it looks like we have Soup, who is usually in the DPS role, on that main to off tank role, on the Reinhardt especially, which seems to be Fem Neptune's specialty.
Yeah, so we have to wait and see if they can outperform their kind of counterpart, so they're definitely going to have a little bit friendly competition through the comps as they continue to play this game. We saw them hover the D.Va for a second, but it seems like they're going to stick with the Rhine. As the Nano's coming out for East High, they definitely have the ult advantage for this fight, and eliminating Fem Neptune so early on is what you want to see, but now Dragonfire with the Coalescence is able to both demech and eliminate Radius Boss from the side of East High, so they're going to end up losing a tank, but now Daydream is going to use their Valkyrie to keep the team alive as Dragonfire loses that Coalescence and their life to the Sombra. Daydream getting stuck on the ground will get taken out by Frozen Phoenix as Big Boofus tries to tie things up, taking out that Sombra. Monkey's there to take out Fem Neptune, and Frozen Phoenix takes out Soup. Again, Frozen Phoenix has kind of been uncontested on this Winston as ALW finishes off Big Boofus, and Monkey takes out the Cassidy.
There are a lot of poor decisions being made on an individual basis to go off by yourself and not respect East High at all. It feels like Meridian Technical, especially with Fem Neptune on the Pharah, flying right in front of the Ana, getting hit twice before they even deigned to look in ALW's direction, and as a result, ALW quickly eliminated them when that barrage could have been instrumental in winning the fight.
Yeah, and a great 3-man EMP as well as a 3-man anti-nade is going to lead to the elimination of JR, quickly followed by Soup taking out Dragon Shadow, and Big Boofus taking out Muzi. So now Radio Boss is trying to even things out by taking out Dragonfire, so losing out that main healer. Not good for Meridian Technical, so they're just going to have to worry about the Mercy as Monkey takes out Fem Neptune, and with a great Pulse Bomb is going to quickly taking out Daydream as well, followed by Radius Boss taking out Soup. Meridian Technical is only going to get 27% and not be able to retake the point. East High, is going to take round one of control.
Wildcats win round one, and I feel like Meridian Technical's biggest issue right now is respecting the enemy team, because we've seen Fem Neptune do so a couple of times on the Pharah, but also Big Boofus is worth mentioning on the Roadhog, because as a Roadhog, one of the most important skill sets that you can have is recognizing when the enemy is just going to farm you, and that is not something that Big Boofus seem to have on their forefront of their mind. After last map, I think it's good that Meridian Technical is getting a little bit of a time to reset, maybe switch some heroes before they take on East High again and control well.
Yeah, so now starting off well, that you talked about so much of how key it is for this matchup. Sticking with that Sombra on the side of East High, as well as the Lucio on Meridian Technical. And that Roadhog, but now they're sticking with Soup on the Rhine. Now this time, JR is going to be on the side of a Hanzo with Fem Neptune on a Doomfist. But first elimination is going to go over to the side of Frozen Phoenix with a 4-man elimination onto Soup, quickly followed by JR taking out Monkey. But now Dragonfire is going to get a boop onto Radius Boss in the center well. So already that's the first environmental elimination that we've seen. So definitely want to keep tally on that, because it's the map where you will see the most as ALW takes out Dragonfire. But now it is an all-out stall because no team wants to push each other's side. We saw the hook attempt from Big Boofus, but Soup's going in with the charge, trying to hold that front line as Monkey takes out Fem Neptune, who could not get back in time because Meridian Technical does not have a strong healer, just Daydream and Lucio, kind of the old Overwatch meta, as the double hook coming out is going to eliminate both the Roadhogs. kind of, you can't have it, neither will I, as the last eliminations. Monkey doing their best to try to eliminate Daydream at the 1 HP. Will finally get taken out by Monkey, but Dragonfire is able to take out Dragon Shadow, so both sides losing a big support for either side, but Eastside High definitely has that higher healer as the Bongo comes out for Frozen Phoenix. Monkey takes out Soup, trying to take out the Amplifier, but will not get it in time, as Neptune will lose his life, as well as Dragonfire, as ALW gets a 2-piece for themselves. Big Boofus will get another hook. Environmental elimination onto Frozen Phoenix. Goal mode was not up in time as Monkey takes out JR, but finally the point will be secured for East High. Meridian Technical able to get almost 50%.
If you're East High, what you're looking for to save this point is you're looking for Muzi to get a huge EMP, probably combo it with some sort of nano, and just have probably Radius go into the EMP with the nano and just be able to capitalize on everything that Meridian Technical is going to be unable to stop.
And right now,
as long as you hack Dragonfire.
Yeah, and right now kicking things off with both the nano and the rally. And the whole hog, and the shatter, and the Valkyrie. All the ults are coming out. Monkey is able to take out Soup, but he will be rezzed right back. The pin coming out very well timed from Soup, taking out ALW, but Dragonfire, another boop elimination onto Radius Boss. These environmental kills are going to outlast many of the other kills that these players are getting right now. So the only ult remaining for Meridian Technical is going to be that sound barrier from Dragonfire, but now JR is swapping over to the Soldier 76.
ALW is absolutely unafraid, has no fear as Ana. They have outsniped both of Meridian Technical's DPS, and Meridian Technical needs to respect that more and respect that ALW is not a hapless, defenseless Ana. They will absolutely 1v1 you.
Yeah, taking out Fem Neptune on the side, who swapped over to that Cassidy. ALW gets the melee as Monkey takes out Daydream, but Dragonfire is there with another boop onto Dragon Shadow as Monkey ends up just falling off by themselves. So quickly evening up the fight. East High. Gonna keep saying East Side after that last matchup. That is my fault. As Big Boofus is able to take out ALW after ALW takes out Soup. But the flank coming in from Muzi as well as Frozen Phoenix with the help of that Bongo is going to be able to win them the point, as Meridian Technical up to 97%, but East High also has 3 ults on the board to match Meridian Technicals.
I wonder where Muzi thought they were hiding with the supercharger connected to them around the corner. If you're East High, you need to use some ultimates this fight. And you want to use them before Meridian Technical can get off JR's Attack Visor and Daydream's Valkyrie. Dragonfire wisely holding on to the B for the EMP.
And Radius Boss has been eliminated early in these fights time and time again, and now with Big Boofus opening up that whole hog after a great pin coming out from Soup. The sound barrier was really not needed there for Meridian Technical, maybe just to flex the best he can. A great EMP coming out from Muzi, but will not be enough for them to get on the point in time. The Nano's going to try to come out. The Wrecking Ball comes flying past for Frozen Phoenix, but Meridian Technical takes round number 2 of control, so we're going to round number 3. A welcome sight for these two teams, just to show how closely matched they've been.
So Dragonfire was actually wise in using the sound barrier, even though Muzi still had the EMP, because they used the sound barrier because they knew that Muzi wouldn't be able to follow up on the EMP and was not in a position to re-EMP the sound barrier. It was a little bit scary. Muzi could have easily used the EMP to negate the entire sound barrier. That wasn't necessarily not a thing, but so that was definitely the scariest part there. But after the sound barrier successfully went out, there was no way that Muzi was going to be able to get, not necessarily EMP, because we saw them get a huge EMP, but the follow-up that they needed on the EMP. And EMP is only ever as good as the damage you can put out after the EMP is down.
And it seems this time East High is going to go for their own Echo play, but it does not seem like she will have a Pocket Mercy. So that Echo is definitely going to be living a dangerous life heading into the round 3 of control. And already Meridian Technical is actually going to take the low ground on the point, waiting for it to unlock so they can get as much early percentage as they can. But Big Boofus is going to get first blood onto Monkey. So losing a DPS very early on, they're playing as aggressive as they need, but Radius Boss is going to capitalize on it and take out Soup. The rest was attempted from Daydream, but will get disrupted as Fem Neptune on the Junkrat is able to demech Radius Boss. But Big Boof is doing the best as the main tank for his team right now since Soup was eliminated to hold that ground in the center. As Frozen Phoenix is able to jump in the back lane and take out JR, quickly followed by ALW, taking out Dragonfire with that anti-nade. But Daydream getting on that Battle Mercy that we love to see, taking out Monkey once again. Monkey has already died twice in this first minute of this matchup as Soup gets a great pin on ALW. And the Riptire already called in after the team fight was won. Not going to land on anyone as Daydream gets the res onto Soup after Big Boof is able to take out the brick. Muzi with this Echo is trying to rain down as much damage as he can, but will simply not be enough, so he will have to back off as Big Boof eliminates Frozen Phoenix and Muzi on the retreat. A great first team fight already at so close to 50%.
Fem Neptune was definitely the price for that one fight, but you can't be too upset because it was a very one fight. And they will be back before it next engage. If you're East High, you got to watch out for some of these ultimates that Meridian Technical's going in. That's a good way to watch out for some of those ultimates. 71 Visor, can't use it if you're in spawn.
Yeah, and a great anti almost got the elimination onto Soup, but now the whole hog coming out from Big Boof will not be able to get any elimination, and instead Muzi is going to get burned down by the beam. So there goes Soup, but he will be quickly rezzed by Daydream as they kind of interrupted that time. Tried to hide behind the pole, but will actually ended up getting eliminated by Monkey from the ground. Dragon Shadow is the only member to fall from East High. East High had a great attacking push through multiple ultimates coming out from Meridian Technical.
So we talk a lot about how healers going down first is the last thing that you want to see. You definitely also don't want to see your main tank go down first either, and that has happened to Meridian Technical multiple times, and every time it does, that fight is almost assuredly lost.
And I think that's where we want to highlight people like Daydream who are committing to the mercy of just as many times as you fall, I'll be there to pick you back up. But now Monkey's here to kick things off, well, not being the first blood, but getting the first blood onto Dragonfire with the pulse bomb, quickly followed by Muzi getting those sticky nades onto Soup, who's going to fall so early on once again, but this time he's just going to have to naturally res back as Big Boofus will be able to take out Muzi, trying to even things up as Frozen Phoenix with this Primal Rage doing the best to just disrupt what he can. Will get slept as JR on the 76. Does his best to damage him down as Big Boofus gets the elimination as well. Has the sights. They definitely have the ult advantage going into this Radius boss, just finally having to remech. Only a 50% towards that bomb. Daydream getting the res onto Dragonfire after getting eliminated. That's exactly what you want to see from the 76 as he kick things off. An elimination onto the one flyer. Even gets the panic rocket. I didn't even see that myself onto ALW, who was split off way in front of his team.
If you're East High, what you want is Muzi to get the duplicate of their life, but they can't necessarily do that if they can't get into the air because Junior will snipe them out of it, as we have seen here. If you're Meridian Technical, you want to use ultimates aggressively, so you want to use that whole hog like right now, a nano boost right now, so that you can win the fight before it's ever begun.
There's the duplicate onto the Roadhog this time around, trying to get the whole hog of himself, but will get antied and burnt down very quickly as Soup ends up falling off the edge, but Monkey with another great pulse bomb onto Dragonfire, consistent as Daydream is there with the rest from Big Boofus after getting eliminated by Frozen Phoenix. Big Boofus is able to refrag onto Radius Boss, quickly followed by Dragon and taking out the Mercy, and it seems East High is going to come out of that team fight after a lot of trades, but now JR is going to be swapping over to the Cassidy.
Meridian Technical lost that fight solely because they didn't ult first. I was calling for it. I was saying that now was the time, and they didn't use any of them until after the duplicate was already out. And that's not what you want to do, especially if you have the opportunity to ult them and eliminate them on the approach before they ever touch the point. Meridian Technical is put in a difficult spot because of their inability to press Q.
And Fem Neptune on this Junker trying to make their best in this close, tight space, but Monkey is going to be able to eliminate him first. Quickly followed by ALW taking out Dragonfire, and Big Boofus is the only one on his team able to get an elimination onto Muzi. But that he will also prevent the team wipe, but it seems East High is going to secure this, seeing as they're pushing Meridian Technical all the way back to their spawn. Even Lucio can't get back in time, so East High will take control. Seeing as this is best of 3, we still got a map ahead of us. Some good things to look forward to, but the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State esports, and the top plays are even presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there, and make sure to reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. So the first control map already going the distance in a best of 3 mode. So ton of things to look forward to as we head into the next map, which is actually going to be an escort this time around. Last time it was hybrid for the second map, but this time it's going to be escort. So thoughts wrapping that up before we take a quick break?
AWL and the DPS on it is my single favorite thing between both of these teams, and I want nothing but good things for them. However, it is... So we talked about the DPS not respecting AWL on the Ana. AWL is able to get away with the things that they do because they don't respect the DPS very much either. So as soon as the DPS recognize that ALW is actually a threat, ALW's whole play style is going to fall apart.
Yeah, so we have to wait and see if Meridian Technical is able to capitalize on that. So we'll be right back after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of Meridian Technical taking on East High. And they just finished up Ilios on control, and East High managed to squeeze it out against Meridian Technical. So heading over to Escort, we're waiting to see what will happen. I'm still your host, Brendan Berlad. Joined with me is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. Hey, so heading into the Escort map that we have yet to know and see what these players are capable, what map are you expecting to see?
I think Dorado is definitely a map that lots of teams tend to pick, especially at the collegiate level, so it might be different at the high school level. But Dorado, we also see, the map we see probably the least is Junkertown, both at the collegiate and the high school level, so it would nice to see that. It would be nice to see that, especially because one of the strategies that is so dominant on Junkertown is some form of sniper or some sort of tricky dive, and that's always interesting to watch. It's one of my favorite things to watch, the sniper battles. That's one of my favorite things to cast, the sniper battles. So Junkertown would be absolutely very nice, but I doubt that it'll go that way. Stats seem to pick Dorado, and honestly, there's not really an escort map that I feel like would favor one team over the other, because I feel like with Yorba and Bayside, it was coming down to who had the right comp for the situation. I feel like this matchup is very much not that.
Well, the map is going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar, a Boise State favorite that we know, and they play very consistently. So at the high school level, with Meridian Technical getting a little bit help from Doc Haskell every so often, do you expect them to outperform Eastside High, or do you expect it to be kind of a more match-to-match game like we saw in Control?
I think it will be more likely for Meridian Technical to be able to win this map if they swap back to main roles and do some of those things. They're kind of like experimenting right now, and I do not think that the Wildcats are the team for them to experiment against because it's very push and shove, very anybody's game, and so I think that Soup and Fem Neptune should go ahead and probably get back on their main roles.
Yeah, hopefully we see that as we are getting ready to jump into this next matchup of Meridian Technical taking on East High, the Dragons taking on the Wildcats. Some exciting things to look forward to. And also, we were talking about over the break of Daydream and how well they've been performing, and that we are trying to get them on our team for Boise State. And some exciting things to look forward to, as well as they are the Mercy main, but at the same time we see Big Boofus on the side of Meridian Technical kind of being that Roadhog main on all of Ilios, doing very well for his team when Soup would kind of charge in. We want to see them return to their main roles where they perform the best, and already from the silhouettes we can see Meridian Technical in the blue bringing out the Winston and the Diva.
And it looks like they have Anna Briggs, so it looks like Daydream has switched over to the Brigitte, as occasionally they do. Occasionally they swap to Brigitte, occasionally they swap to Moira. Usually their Brigitte is pulled out on Escort. They pull it out on Dorado against some other teams. That Echo is now almost entirely unsupported. Their life is entirely in the very capable hands of Dragonfire on the Anna.
Yeah, so kicking off this team fight, some early damage is going to be exchanged. But
we've switched colors.
Yeah, so switching colors. Now Meridian Technical is attacking first and going to have Fem Neptune on the far with Daydream sticking to that Mercy, as well as Big Boofus on the Roadhog. But JR sticking to the Cassidy, but Radius Boss is going to get first blood onto Dragonfire. But that is going to be wrestled away as Soup takes out Muzi. Echo just maybe too close to the ground as Monkey takes out Fem Neptune, not even turning around to acknowledge he was getting damaged, as Soup gets another great pin onto Frozen Phoenix on that Winston. It seems that they're going to push the cart right past the hardest point to hold, which is that archway. Might even get first checkpoint unless East High decides to collapse on him. Trying to get the pin onto Frozen Phoenix right out spawn, but he's going to try to sight that out. Shatter is already online for Soup, so that could definitely win them this first checkpoint. Trying to burn down that Monkey Shield as Big Boofus gets a two-piece of his own onto Frozen Phoenix and Muzi, who swapped over to a Cassidy. As Soup takes out Nox, a fresh face we have yet to see. Soup takes out Radius Boss. They got that first checkpoint very quickly without a single ult being used.
Which is amazing on the side of Meridian Technical, because usually first point, if the enemy team, so if East High has high ground, which they absolutely did, it becomes a nightmare to take away, and usually you have to take the high ground from them before you can take the point. But East High was unable to leverage their high ground advantage, and so Meridian Technical took the point with 4 minutes and 53 seconds to spare.
Yeah, you can see how far these two tanks have pushed up for Meridian Technical, just taking that space so they can push the cart as freely as they need to get as close to that checkpoint. And now Daydream's going to pop the first ult of this match with the Valkyrie to keep his teammates alive. Fem Neptune getting burned down so quickly, but is going to get healed back up thanks to the help of the extra healing from Valkyrie. And they're just going to get the second checkpoint nearly uncontested. 2 meters away from it, and it seems that now East High is going to give up the high ground, but a great four-man shatter coming out from Soup is going to land onto multiple members of East High, but not actually lit in eliminations, but his team's going to get eliminated as the Pharmacy is going to get taken down. Monkey doing very well, able to take out Soup as well. It's hard to say that you have a team named Monkey when you also have a teammate playing Winston. Which Monkey are we talking about here?
Absolutely. I understand your struggle. Meridian Technical has now been put at the worst spot for them to be on Watchpoint Gibraltar. We were talking about how first point can be a nightmare if the enemy has high ground, but this is some of the best high ground in the game here on second point, and East High is just giving up space to Meridian Technical. And now they're trying to take it back here with the engage on with the Diva and the Monkey engaging here. We'll see if they're able to make anything. Soup, ahead of his entire team on the cart, probably going to get punished for that.
He's going to try to protect against that Deadeye with the monkey bubble, and will keep him alive, but a barrage in the background is going to be able to take out both supports for East High, and that should be an easy win for Meridian Technical, as Fem Neptune's going on a tear right now on a 4-kill streak against Radius Boss and Muzi as well, but it seems Soup will put an end to that, taking out Frozen Phoenix themselves. This should be an easy second checkpoint for Meridian Technical. Only committing one ult wins the team fight and clears it that quickly. But Daydream going on the Battle Mercy to try to take out Monkey in the backline will end up giving it up, so they'll have to rotate around as Soup gets a great pin onto Muzi. Continuing on, getting as aggressive. Gonna throw down the shadow onto 2 members with no teammates behind him now. Femnet's gonna come climbing in. Kind of wasted that shatter, didn't really got overly aggressive there.
But you know who didn't waste their ult is Fem Neptune with the barrage, and they're almost halfway to charging another one. So if you're East High, you really want Muzi in particular, Muzi and Radius to do something about Fem Neptune, who is coming alive on this map, whereas they were a little bit lackluster on the Pharah on Ilios.
Yeah, now with Frozen Phoenix swapping over to the Reinhardt, getting off that Winston, so we know who Monkey is now officially when we say it. Dragon Shadow, also taking out Dragon Fire. Battle of the Dragons right now as Big Boofus on the Roadhog is able to take out Muzi, quickly followed by Dragon Shadow. With the Boop taking out Fem Neptune. Seems Meridian Technical might just have to go for the reset here after losing kind of their main DPS.
Fem Neptune is incredibly aggressive on the Pharah, and Daydream is not always there for them on the Pharah, and part of that is because Fem Neptune is often in very aggressive positions that you don't necessarily want your Mercy into. But those aggressive positions become much less likely to work out if Daydream is not there to support them. So Fem Neptune and Daydream need to get on the same page and fast if they'd like to continue getting value out of this Far Mercy.
Yeah, especially going up against a nanoed Frozen Phoenix on that Rhine is able to beat Soup in that 1v1 with the help of the Nano. So now East High looking with a very good defense right now. It seems Meridian Technical might have to reset again, especially after losing JR to Dragon Shadow. Getting multiple eliminations with his left shift Boop ability. Utilizing it very well, and now the res even coming out, gonna bring him back so Meridian Technical can continue this push, now bringing out their own Nano, but the great counter shatter is gonna land onto 2 members of Meridian Technical, and now the Diva line coming out from Radius Boss will not be able to land onto any members of Meridian Technical. Soup getting first blood in this team fight with Radius, Fem Neptune getting another great barrage onto 2 members of East High, but now Radius Boss and Monkey trying to even that out. Monkey is able to get a great pulse bomb onto Daydream in the back line. So trades coming out between these 2 teams, but Fem Neptune keeping them at their spawn gate right now. Monkey doing their best in the back lane to try to poke them down, but it's not simply going to be enough damage. But here comes Muzi with the great Deadeye, taking out Fem Neptune out of the sky as he did not have the Pocket Mercy. Now Nox getting the anti-nano Big Boofus. Meridian Technical has to reset.
And Meridian Technical pushing this 3rd point. The 3rd point is one of the easiest points on Watch Point Gibraltar to push, as opposed to 2nd point. 2nd point is one of the hardest points to push in the game if the enemy team ends up taking the high ground, because you only have 4 points of entry, and enemy team has high ground advantage over you no matter where you go. So 3rd point should be easier to take for Meridian Technical than 2nd point. We'll see if that remains true.
And kicking things off with the Deadeye that leads to his elimination. Monkey's there to eliminate him, but Daydream's there with the res as Frozen Phoenix gets another great pin onto Soup, who, as we've mentioned so many times, plays way too aggressive in front of his teams, doesn't have his supports to back him up, and gets eliminated so early on that costs them, especially not having the res, as they've had to res JR early on so many times. Seems these 2 players are costing Meridian Technical a lot of time here with only a minute remaining on the board. The Nano onto the Diva may have been a slight mistake, especially after she got slept for the whole duration, and a great hook onto Frozen Phoenix won't be able to cut him out of that rotation. Daydream even getting the elimination with the Battle Mercy, so this is where you want to get aggressive. They only have 1 tank, and they only have so long until they respawn. We saw the pulse bomb attempt from Monkey, and it did not land, but now Fem Neptune swapping over to the Sovereign with the hacks, trying to eliminate that Baby Diva, will end up getting her. Now the whole hog coming out as Soup gets a great pin onto Muzi, quickly followed by JR taking out Dragon Shadow, and Soup getting another pin knockoff onto Nox with the environmental. Big Boof is finishing off on Frozen Phoenix, and Meridian Technical, with 25 seconds remaining, gets the 3rd checkpoint.
And that is almost all due to the efforts of Soup and Big Boofus pushing not only together, but aggressively into the enemy team, appropriately using their ults and abilities. I think Soup and Big Boofus, I think that was their greatest play of the game. It wasn't super high elimination or flashy or anything like that, but they were on the same page, they were together, and they were pushing forward, and honestly, great job.
Yeah, and the whole thing to the start of the fight was Big Boofus landing kind of that god hook onto Frozen Phoenix. Eliminating their main tank was fantastic. Definitely kicked things off where Meridian Technical needed. So right now, Meridian Technical on the defense this time around, going up against East High on the attack. And already through the wall, we can see an interesting pick here of the Monkey and Diva trying to contest that high ground on attack, whereas Meridian Technical kind of went for more of the brawly comp, and it worked out for them.
Gibraltar is usually a comp that you want a Monkey on. You usually want to be able to have the ability to do something on the high ground. On second point, you can get some value out of a Sigma. On first point, too, you can get some value out of a Sigma because Sigma is capable of holding the high ground, whereas Reinhardt is not. Soup was on the Reinhardt and had success on the Reinhardt, but Gibraltar is absolutely not a map that is Reinhardt's friend because there's so much high ground that you can use and abuse from all angles. Reinhardt is actually one of the worst picks in the game for Watchpoint Gibraltar.
And now with the new face for the side of DPS from Meridian Technical, FemNem2 now on the Torbjorn, whereas the rest of his team is sticking to what they know very well. And another great sleep dart landing onto Radius Boss. Seems Dragonfire knows their name. So on East High, we are seeing a lot of the familiar faces, but this time Monkey is going to be on the Echo, and Uzi's going to take over the Tracer and be one of the first eliminated by JR. Knowing his role, knows how to counter that Tracer and eliminate him very quickly. So, but it seems East High is trying to contest the high ground the best they can, and will end up pushing Meridian Technical off that little bit higher ledge, but the turret is already going right back down, doing its best to get any poke damage they can. And Frozen Phoenix jumping in all by himself is going to get eliminated very quickly, but Radius Boss is there with the environmental boop off onto Dragonfire. It seems this is going to be a much harder push for East High going into Meridian Technical.
And Meridian Technical is just playing the individual skill game so much better than East High because they don't have the team comp game right now. Absolutely not. With Soup on the Reinhardt, but Soup is getting amazing, incredible Reinhardt value, so I guess that just really shows how competent of a player they are on their hero to force them in less than optimal situations.
Have FemNem2 doing their best to keep the turret alive, going up against Monkey as Soup eliminates Radius Boss, and Big Boofus is there to help him get out of the mech, but Monkey takes out the turret once again. Seems it's the battle of the two robots right now between Monkey and that turret, as that brig was very low. Dragon Shatter will get taken out by Soup, but Monkey is there to take out JR, but Soup with a great flame strike is there to take out Muzi. They were not able to disrupt Daydream, rezzing JR right back. So Meridian Technical maintaining their 6-man defensive presence as East High has not yet been able to push this cart any further than it's gotten.
East High is doing one major thing that is going to lose them this game if they continue to do it. Can you guess what it is?
Contesting the high ground when they don't have the team comp advantage, even though Meridian Technical has better individual play.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
East High actually absolutely wants the high ground, but they don't want it Monkey jumping in there by themselves. You need Frozen Phoenix and Radius Boss on the same push, jumping that high ground, and especially with all of these ultimates that they can use this next fight, you want 3 or more people in your dive if you're East High, and you want 2 of them to be your tanks, exactly like that.
And Monkey kicking things off with the duplicate, but seems that he's going to get matched by Soup with a great shatter, followed by JR's Deadeye and FemNem2's Molten Core eliminating that duplicate and even getting Eternal Elimination. So Meridian Technical says, you're going to push into us. All right, everybody press Q now, and it works.
And so East High shouldn't feel too bad about that push. Meridian Technical just ulted better, and that's what that came down to. But they had the right idea. Their Echo Diva and their Monkey all went in with other people ready to support or doing their own things, and that's what they need to do if they want to take this first point.
Yeah, already getting the Immortality forced out so early on in the fight, even dodging out the self-destruct coming out from Radius Boss, and now Daydream's going to have to pop their Valkyrie to keep the rest of the team alive. Soup does have Shatter online, will land up to 3 members of East High, but they will not be able to capitalize as Monkey takes out JR, who is quickly res back alive as Frozen Phoenix manages to take out the Ana, though. Also, definitely trying to keep things even as Muzi is able to take out JR once again as Nox takes out Fem Neptune's turret. Frozen Phoenix with the Primal Rage is able to take out Fem Neptune as Nox takes out Soup. Monkey takes out Daydream. Muzi takes out Big Boofus. Seems that they will get the first checkpoint. Meridian Technical might have time for one final team push if they can rally in time.
They get a staggered recontest if they choose to do that, and actually the better option for them would be to probably set up on high ground, the best high ground that they're given in the game. This second point is going to be incredibly difficult for Meridian Technical if it goes that far, and honestly with the elimination on a Frozen Phoenix, doesn't look like it will.
Yeah, and immediately got the refrag with Monkey taking out Dragonfire and Soup taking out Hagen Shadow, but the Molten Core coming out for the second time, but Muzi's there with a great Pulse Bomb, able to take out both Daydream and Soup, but Fem Neptune's Molten Core is able to take out both Muzi and Radius Boss, as he also manages to take out the duplicate coming out from Monkey, and it seems that will be the end of it for Meridian Technical, or for East High, sorry, as Meridian Technical takes map number 2. A very solid performance from Meridian Technical on Watchpoint Gibraltar, but where you can score pro advice at esportstower.com, where you can improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up at esportstower.com. A fantastic matchup between these two teams for the second map even, so now we're going to a map 3 and a best of 3.
And Meridian Technical definitely played to their win condition there. They forced the Reinhardt, which is a little bit unfortunate on Watchpoint Gibraltar, but they did so with great success. East High didn't even get past first point. And if they had however, if they did get past first point, if East High if they had continued to stay on that Reinhardt, second point, that Reinhardt wouldn't have been able to do anything other than just stand there and be a shield bot, likely on high ground, because second point gives you the best high ground in the game, and so that's where you want to fight. Regardless, if you're the defending team, you want the high ground. That's how you win. That's how you stop a team from getting no further than first point Watch Gibraltar. Second point Watch Point Gibraltar is infamous for, if you get reset, it's pretty likely that you will just be held and be unable to get another push, just because that high ground is so strong. And if they had continued to force that Reinhardt, they wouldn't have been able to do anything about any of that. But Meridian Technical played to their win condition and didn't let them past first point. I was saying that they should probably set up, and that was absolutely the wrong call. Meridian Technical made the right one when they just went in, won the brawl before Eastside High was ready, and the Wildcats ended up taking the L there. But this is still a pretty even matchup between the two teams.
Yeah, so we have to wait and see how map number 3 comes to fruition, as we're going to take a quick short break, give these teams a minute to get some water. So we'll be right back after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome to Esports Tower. Our website offers over 350 different fan favorites that are fully customizable. To begin, click on the product category or featured item to get started. To further customize your new gear, click the blue View More Designs button and pick your favorite design. Thank you for visiting the Esports Tower store.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Arena. We are here continuing our coverage of Meridian Technical taking on East High. It's the Dragons versus the Wildcats. We're in this best of three, and we're into the final third map of Assault. We're going to head over to Temple of Anubis. I'm still your host, Brenner Bear Lad. Joined with me to call all of the action is Colby D'Angelo Alloway. So heading into Temple of Anubis, we saw it in our last matchup of the last two schools. So walk us through it one more time.
I fully expect Soup to continue to play the Reinhardt. And honestly, if Fem Neptune wants to stay on the Torbjorn, that was a hero that came to them with great success on Watchpoint Gibraltar, and that would absolutely benefit particularly defense on Temple of Anubis. Typically, you don't want to run a Torbjorn on offense for, obvious reasons. But just in case you don't know, those reasons are, he's not very good at attack. Torbjorn is very much a defensively oriented hero. You can't really get positions for your turret if you're on attack because you're kind of just throwing it into the enemy team on Temple of Anubis. However, on defense, there are a number of shelves and ledges that you could get an incredible amount of Torbjorn value. And we've also seen an incredible amount, mentioning those same shelves and ledges, of Tracer value, because Tracer is able to use those to get some kind of verticality and come from places that people expect them not to.
Yeah, and so a lot of variability might be going into both the defense and the attack strats of this. But one thing that can help these teams unanimously is Doc's keys to the game. And in Overwatch, that is to never take a fair fight. And what does that mean? It means to take fights in unexpected places, when they are unprepared, and when you can have ability advantages. And of course, that is brought to us by Drop-In Gaming, who is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition, where you can play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you're new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, we are getting ready to jump into this third and final match of East High taking on Meridian Technical on Temple of Anubis. And I will wait to say who's on the defense first because we swapped colors last time.
Spam on defense. That's exactly what we want. We have the Sigma, we have the Orisa, we have the Torbjorn. This is going to be a hard push for whoever's on attack, and it looks like that will be Meridian Technical going in if the colors are to be believed, and if East High is the one with the Echo Torb. Orisa, Sigma. The only thing that could possibly break this spam defense is if they don't have the healers to keep the sustain, and it looks like they have Ana Brig, which will absolutely be more than enough. And it looks like the colors are correct. Meridian Technical is on the attack, going through the right-hand room, which is the correct move if you're a Reinhardt against spam on Temple of Anubis.
Seems that they went all the way around, teleported up top with Fem Neptune on the Symmetra, and just went right onto point. Very smart play, something that East High, did not expect, but they're seeing to capitalize on with Muzi. The turret taking out Big Boofus and himself taking out Fem Neptune, with Monkey taking out Daydream. Definitely just cornered themselves for no reason whatsoever, and they definitely paid dearly for it. It was a great play, but they didn't get any eliminations out of it, and Muzi ends up getting a 4-piece.
It was a great plan. They had the right idea, rotating all the way around, except instead of rotating all the way around, they could have just stopped at the right-hand room and made the engage and had their Reinhardt walk onto the Orisa. That would have been the best plan for them. It wouldn't have wasted as much time, and it looks like now we have Fem Neptune swap over to the Pharah with Daydream as the Pocket Mercy, and East High has no answer to that whatsoever, other than maybe some Orisa Tickle and I guess a Monkey Beam. Monkey is out here and gonna say, I don't care if I'm not a hit scan or hard Pharah counter, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I guess Fem Neptune did not have the Pocket Mercy when it mattered, as the Amplification Matrix for Meridian Technical is gonna throw down and zone him out. Taking out Frozen Phoenix first is what you want to see, but Monkey there with the duplicate onto the Reinhardt is gonna be able to get the charge onto Daydream, but is gonna lose it to Big Boofus, but will make it out of there alive. Surprisingly, full health as well, so the supports on the side of East High playing godlike right now, trying to keep Monkey alive, not having a Pocket Mercy, but Fem Neptune up top finally is able to clear out Muzi, who's been an issue last time they pushed. Now Soup taking out Dragon Shadow, as well as JR countering Monkey in the skies, with Fem Neptune getting a 2-piece onto Radius Boss and Nox. That is the push you want to see from Meridian Technical, and there will be no recontest from East High.
Even though they didn't appear in the kill feed at all, Dragonfire is who this first point belongs to, because that amplification matrix unexpectedly dropped onto Frozen Phoenix is what handed Meridian Technical Eastside High's first point on a silver platter. The second you get that elimination onto the Orisa, that opens the door for a lot of other eliminations and forces Radius Boss on the Sigma to play further back. We'll see if they can do that again.
Yeah, see if the ball will continue rolling, as a great shatter landing onto 3 members of East High as the Bongo gets eliminated by Big Boofit. His Soup did get the pin onto Muzi as the grab lands onto 2 members of East High, but Radius Boss will be able to take out Daydream, quickly followed by Boofus taking out Nox, Soup taking out Frozen Phoenix, JR with the sides taking out Radius Boss, as well as Monkey. But Muzi with the Molten Core takes out JR, and the only 2 tanks remaining for Meridian Technical do get the team wipe. So close to capping it, barely at like that 95%, but being the only 2 tanks remaining, they do manage to take out Nox, but Radius Boss does end up taking out Soup. Big Boof is trying to retreat with 67 HP. Will not make it, as Frozen Phoenix with the Wrecking Ball is able to track him down. So Meridian Technicals have to regroup, but they have 3.5 minutes to do so.
Not a bad push for your first snowball, and now if you're East High, you're kind of like, man, they got the snowball on us. But if you're Meridian Technical, what you really want to do is you want that Pharah to get value on your next push, and you need to make sure that Daydream and Dragonfire stay alive. Possibly the only people that you could lose in this next fight if you want to continue to win and you want full cap 3rd point. You could possibly lose Fem Neptune, and you could possibly lose Junior. But attacking 2nd point Temple of Anubis, you really don't want to lose anybody, least of all Daydream and Dragonfire. So it'll be up to them to stay alive this next fight. And it'll be up to East High, if they want to win, to get that elimination onto one of their supports or 2 or more members of their team. Those are your options.
Yeah, and that's definitely what you want to see from Fem Neptune, taking out the turret so early on, just eliminating that extra DPS that East High might have. Kicking things off with a rally from the side of East High is what you want to see if they're trying to win this defense, as Monkey takes out Fem Neptune with a melee on the ground, as well as a great pulse bomb onto Junior for taking out his counter, quickly followed by Muzi with the turret taking out Daydream, and Frozen Phoenix finishing off Dragonfire. Big Boofus will not be able to make it out alive as Monkey takes him out, so honestly just a bunch of free ult percentage that fight for East High, as they didn't lose anybody.
East High understood the assignment 100%. They got the immediate elimination onto 2 members, Soup and Junior, on Meridian Technical, and after that the fight was won for them. Because 2CP, if you go up 2 more and you're the defender, there's no way the attackers are going to be able to salvage that, even if they team wipe you, because you respawn immediately, as we saw with their Meridian Technical's first attempt at team wiping that ended up in 93.2% point capture.
Yeah, and starting up +1 heading into this team fight, even with the barrage, you know he's looking for is going to go right onto Radius Boss, but will get eliminated by Dragon Shadow. So a very good trade for Meridian Technical, but they have the res advantage, so Meridian Technical has to get aggressive now, and with the amplification matrix coming out from both sides, they will be able to eliminate that amplifier, but sadly it will not make the difference as Big Boofus takes out Monkey. They're already going to have to just reset for another push, as East High has that respawn advantage. We've mentioned it so many times. That's the issue with Temple of Anubis. They can just respawn so quickly. As JR is there with a great flash stun onto Dragon Shadow as Big Boofus takes out Monkey once again. And now Frozen Phoenix there with the speedy Wrecking Ball to cause chaos in the backline, takes out Dragonfire as Big Boofus once again eliminates the turret of Muzi, but Radius Boss with the giant rock is able to take Fem Neptune out of the sky, as Daydream's there with the res onto Dragonfire to keep the supports alive. Big Boofus is there to take out Frozen Phoenix. Muzi's doing the best to kite Soup away from the rest of his team, and he falls for it. So it will cost him his life, but Meridian Technical needs to go for the reset here, as Big Boofus is continuing this fight on the point with the whole hog, able to take out Radius Boss and knock everyone off, and even eliminating Muzi's turret, as Muzi finally is able to eliminate him. Junior doing his best on the point to take out Dragon Shadow again. Frozen Phoenix responds so quickly he's able to take out Daydream, but now Dragonfire, being the main support on the point, will not be able to maintain it as Monkey takes out Junior, so they're going to have to reset with 20 seconds on the board. They got so close to that 3rd checkpoint.
Big Boofus kept fighting when he was down his main tank and one other team member, and that's never what you want to do if you are on second point Anubis. You don't ult if you're down 2. As we saw, it got them 2%, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, so the Monk Cooler is going to go down right away on that main strip, and Monkey taking out Daydream so early on, but could give them that leg up, losing that support, make that full support as Dragonfire comes in, taking out Dragonfire from Dragon Shadow as Radius Boss takes out Big Boofus. Dragon Shadow then takes out Soup. Femneptune attempted the barrage but wasn't able to secure it. Radius Boss finishes off Junior, almost got the team wipe. Daydream just spawned a second too soon, but 96% is the furthest Meridian Technical could get, so now they're going to have to play the best defense of their life. They want to be able to win against East High in this best of 3.
And honestly, anything in the 90s, second point Anubis is absolutely more than good, more than average, because second point Anubis is so hard to cap. Just like we're talking, you can't go down 2, you can't go down either one of your supports. Speaking of going down to supports, Monkey won that last fight for East High the second they eliminated Daydream. You eliminate one of the attacker's team's supports, you just win on 2 CP. It doesn't matter how close they get. They will not be able to get the 100 without the sustain of both of their supports against your defending near constant respawns.
I mean, the best chance they have is they eliminate Dragonfire first. Daydream's there with the res, and hopefully they lose nobody else, because then you don't have the res to bring back, say, Femneptune, who's been your pocket the whole game. So Meridian Technical had a lot of tools in their toolkit to win that. They were just not able to execute it to get that last 4%. But like you mentioned, a still fantastic performance from attacking. But now it's all going to be on to East High and what they can accomplish on attack, or if Meridian Technical's defense is just out of this world.
And I do believe I did hear a Widowmaker, and we see the Widowmaker there. So that might be something that Meridian Technical on the defense is not ready for. It certainly looks like Femneptune is not ready for it as one of the only members from out behind the shield. If that Widowmaker is, in fact, it does not look like they stayed with the Widowmaker. It looks like they're going for some cheeky sim teleports. First elimination goes on Nox, though, from Soup. Not looking good for East High.
Yeah, taking out their main support is exactly what you need to do, especially followed up. Soup taking out Muzi, but Monkey in the backline focusing down Daydream. He knows his winning condition to get that fight. He has a job and he's going to execute it, but Dragonfire there to take out Frozen Phoenix. Monkey still tearing up the backline, taking out Junior now. Soup doing his best to try to clear it out, but Monkey's kind of having a field day as he hasn't really had a counter yet. Junior's been trying his best, but he's constantly losing that 1v1 as now Dragonfire's going on the hunt for Monkey, but he's zooming around doing his Tracer's job, going to run right into that Junkrat of Femneptune, but seems no elimination will be had between the two. He's going to lose half his life with a single Flame Strike. And will finally get eliminated by Femneptune, not watching out for those grenades as the next team fight kicks off as they regrouped in time. But a great shatter coming out from Soup is going to land onto the remaining 3 members of East High after they all got killed. So Soup getting a 3-piece, make that a 4-piece for himself. A fantastic shatter. That's exactly what you want to see from your Reinhardt on defense.
Especially because it landed onto the enemy Reinhardt as well, and there's always something special about, as a Reinhardt, being able to lay the enemy Reinhardt on their back with a well-placed shatter. East High still has 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, so they have likely 4 fights, depending on how long they are, between 2 to 4 to attack this point here as they set up for their next one. We have the swap of Muzi onto the Echo, which could prove to be huge. This Pulse Bomb could also prove to be huge. It is not for Monkey, which is unfortunate, but the stun comes out, but doesn't kill the Monkey in the back line.
Yeah, he fell down just in time to save his life. Stun fell right to the ground, but Femneptune's going to get a 2-piece for himself, eliminating both Nox and Muzi. Dragon Shadow is there with the elimination, but Daydream's there with the res for Soup. So as much as you can do, Daydream has been carrying his team with these reses so hard, being that, honestly, one of the main supports. I'm so curious what the heal numbers are between Daydream and Dragonfire, because Daydream has been healing as much as he's been boosting their damage, and it seems he's still pocketing Femneptune no matter which DPS he's playing.
And speaking of Femneptune, East High is making the correct decision and pushing to the right because they can't push in that left-hand room into Femneptune on the Junkrat.
CMC will get value with that tire, though, onto Radius Boss, eliminating that secondary tank that they had. And now they're just going to get stuck up top. Big Boof is getting there with the rotations, and a great shot is going to land onto 4 members once again for Soup. But he will not be able to capitalize it like last time, and will get eliminated by Dragon Shot. He'll go as well as Frozen Phoenix taking out JR. But now Monkey swapping over to the May is able to take out the Immortality Field, as well as catch Big Boof is on rotation with 15 HP remaining. Will not be able to survive as Frozen Phoenix also takes out Dragonfire. Looks like East High will be able to take this first point, but now with Soup swapping over to the Wrecking Ball is going to contest it as long as they can, and because there's only 30 seconds remaining for East High, so it seems it might be all-out stall for Meridian Technical, but they don't have Beb Neptune back just in time. They attempted the pin onto Daydream, will get it, but Soup will finally get eliminated. Now JR showing up eliminated very quickly, just feeding ult percentage. Still contesting with Dragonfire on that Baptiste with the bounce. Will not survive, so it seems that they will have to give it at this point, because if you're trying to contest anymore, that's just free ult percentage for East High, especially that they have 4, almost 5 ults on board.
East High's best shot is to snowball this right now. They have 5, almost 6 ultimates. Nox will likely be able to charge an amplification matrix before the fight, like mid-fight. And Meridian Technical doesn't have anything to deal with it whatsoever. They have 4 ultimates of their own, but none of them are defensive. So if East High all just presses Q, they win.
Yeah, and it helps that they have an open up with the Blizzard and don't have that Diva to try to eat it up. Now, the Bongo coming out, the Deadeye coming out, the Valkyrie coming out, the Rez coming out. To try to keep Soup alive. And Beb Neptune with the great tire is going to be the equalizer, taking out both Frozen Phoenix and Nox, leading that main support, as we mentioned, can easily kill the push that East High has, as well as the duplicate coming out and losing the Immortality Field. Muzi goes down, but Radius Boss is able to take out Dragonfire, but they do have spawn advantage, so it will only matter for those early 5 to 10 seconds, as a great stun will come out into Radius Boss and stagger them out. Same with JR taking out Monkey. A great hold from Meridian Technical after a very strong start from East High with that Blizzard.
Meridian Technical just ulted better. The Blizzard placement was great, and Monkey was able to charge almost an entire another one in that fight, so great job to Monkey there. Meridian Technical just ulted better. There wasn't the follow-up that they needed on the Blizzard, and East High, as other individual ultimates, for example, the Duplicate went onto the Baptiste and was unable to get any value whatsoever.
Yeah, they went aggressive as they could for East High, but an amazing shot is going to lead to a quick 2-piece for both tanks as Big Boof takes out Dragon Shadow and Soup takes out Nox with a great charge, but Frozen Phoenix makes sure to get the refrag for his teammate there. As we see Muzi at that 1 HP will not get healed and get barely taken down by Harisa's very low damaging bullets.
East High is in 2-fight territory right now because it takes about 30 seconds to get an engage, especially on Temple of Anubis, sometimes longer than that. So what they might actually end up having...
There was the Shatter attempt, but the Orisa Shield blocked all of it, so you have to feel terrible if you're Frozen Phoenix. But a great Blizzard's going to come out and freeze multiple members. Frozen Phoenix is on a 2-piece right now. But Beb Neptune, went along with Big Boof, is make sure to shut down the rest of his team. He will be the only survivor, possibly the last one. Goes for the charge spin onto Big Boof, will not get the elimination thanks to the gold mode, but her life bar will drop very low. And Muzi surprisingly went back in for some reason and got taken down by Junior.
Meridian Technical has to defend against one more fight. That's all East High has. They have 17 seconds. They have time for another engage. They have no ultimates to their name except almost a Shatter and almost a Duplicate, but we'll see if almost is good enough here. See if they're able to charge them mid-fight and use them to great success.
Yeah, Meridian Technical has the ult advantage. Is going to use everything they have. Beb Neptune's going to bring out the Photon Barrier. Big Boofus is going to bring out the Bongo. The Deadeye came out from Junior, but just for the zoning capabilities, Big Boofus is able to take out Nox, as well as Beb Neptune taking out both Radius Boss and Dragon Shadow. Big Boofus finishes off Muzi, and Soup takes out Monkey. That is practically a team wipe. Even going to style on him with the Shatter, and a solid victory for Meridian Technical against East High.
Meridian Technical won against the East High Wildcats. They especially won that defense on Temple of Anubis because they just ulted better. In the 2 fights where ultimates were important, they pressed Q to great success, even when they had fewer on the first fight. They had fewer ultimates. It was 4 to 6 in the first fight, and Meridian Technical were able to use their ultimates so much better because Mostly because the East High Wildcats did not have follow-up for the big ultimates they have, most notably the Blizzard. And then second fight where the ultimates were incredibly important, we got huge value out of the amplification matrix before any fight even started, but then we also got a lot of value out of Big Boofus's supercharger. And while Big Boofus himself did not appear in the kill feed very often, there was the supercharger that won his team that point.
Yeah, so the tank players on both sides are something to highlight. So then going into who might be the player of the game for both of these matches that we have casted, you know, there's Xena from the first match, who definition of a carry for their team. Absolutely. Of whoever they played, they were phenomenal, as well as the other DPS on that team who did play very well. We saw them on the Hanzo as well as the Sombra very consistently. And then in this matchup, Big Boofus, Daydream, Fem Neptune, the Meridian technical team was very solid. And so your guesses on who it might be as we reveal that it is actually Bot.
It was actually Bot, which is actually, I appreciate, because he came in as a bit of an underdog. We were kind of sleeping on Bot a little bit, but this Temple of Anubis match changed everything for how we viewed Bot, because Bot just suddenly became the greatest obstacle to Yorba Linda trying to cap this Temple of Anubis point. They could not do anything against that Ashe, against those long sight lines on Temple of Anubis, and even later on other hit scans and other snipers, Bot proved to be just as capable as they were on the match. So although Bayside High did end up not winning that overall matchup, Bot was a big reason why they won Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, so Bot will be your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. It was brought to us by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player will make a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's, helping members achieve financial success. So congratulations, Bot, on winning the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. So now, as we finish things off for the night, your final thoughts on these two matches.
The first match was very much one of individual comps, who could use what better. The second match, I will say, was probably more individually skilled in Meridian Technical's favor, especially once they hit their stride. Fem Neptune was definitely the DPS that we were sleeping on a little bit in the beginning. We usually see them as a tank, but in these later two maps, they showed that they really are just as competent on the DPS role as they are on the tank role. So amazing job to Fem Neptune. You didn't get player of the game, but you definitely helped carry your team to victory.
Yeah, so now we will go ahead and leave you with the top 5 plays of the night, which are brought to us by the Idaho Army National Guard, which invites you to take your critical thinking skills to the next level, with offering 10 jobs and a $20,000 sign-on bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Make sure to reach out to them at iGuard Gaming and enjoy these top 5 plays. Bear is able to take out that break, but they do lose their main tank as well as sell out on the Symmetra. Xena will finally get taken down by M1, who did swap over to the Cole Cassidy, who's been able to counteract, but the save from Flexible from falling off the map, as well as Economic Bear getting 2 melee eliminations quickly followed by M1. There's the duplicate onto the Roadhog this time around, trying to get the whole hog of himself, but will get antied and burnt down very quickly as Soup ends up falling off the edge, but Monkey with another great pulse bomb onto Dragonfire, consistent as Daydream is there with the rest from Big Boofus after getting eliminated by Frozen Phoenix. Big Boofus is able to refrag onto Radius Boss, quickly followed by Dragon.
Zinnia's relation onto the Baptiste right there, that is gigantic and could possibly win them the fight, especially now that they're down both supports and another DPS due to Chicken with the Diva Bomb.
Yeah, it seems the ultimate usage from Bayside High was used at the right time when it mattered the most, and now Wrecking Ball finally going in with the help of this team is able to get a 2-piece for himself. He's going to try to protect against that Deadeye with the Monkey Bubble, and we'll keep him alive, but a barrage in the background is going to be able to take out both supports for East High, and that should be an easy win for Meridian Technical, as Fem Neptune's going on a tear right now on a 4 kill streak against Radius Boss and Boozy as well. Able to take out the Reinhardt. It's going to have to be to wait and see what the rest of the teams can do. This Wrecking Ball's doing his best to poke backline. The Deadeye comes out, but it will land on 3 members. They did lose that sellout, but simply the zoning capabilities of the Deadeye, they had no way to